Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would look at some POIs here. I was having a little bit of technical difficulty with the chat here. I had to hit up Excalibur to give me some insight, but I just started this again a few minutes late. And the point of this stream, I ought to probably wait because I don't know if anybody's actually in watching yet. I think someone was. KSberg was in there already. He probably left because I ended the stream and started another one. Crap. Hey, it's yeah, Buttons. Thank you. Hey, how you doing? And there's KS Birds. Dadrick, how you guys doing? So there are people here. I guess I can start with things then. Sorry, I am really new. I'm learning. I hope to get better every stream, hopefully. But today, this stream, I definitely wanted to talk about POIs. There's the upcoming challenge in the Anvil community to build a POI over the next couple months. I'm not a pro POI builder by any stretch, but I have built POIs, and there's a couple things that were a little good to know about POIs and things like that. So first, what you're looking at right now is some POIs I did make in the past, and most of them are Creel-based POIs. And essentially speaking, if you haven't made a POI before, and probably some of you probably know a lot more about this than I do, but all the POIs, there's a couple different ways to go about building POIs. One, you can build like land-based POIs, like what you see on most all the ones that I built, and then there's another type where you can have POIs go underground, and so there's a portion of them above ground and a portion below ground. But basically, with a POI, when you start these things up, you start with a base. Here, let's just grab it here. I got a base block here, and I got some other blocks I got out of inventory already too. So say we wanted to build a POI right here. Hey, Matt CZ. And this is just a test sample. I just kind of want to show you general things on what you want to think about with a POI. Well, let's just say that this is a building, above ground building right now. Here, let's fill in some of these. Do it. There you go. Oh, trying to get that to drag. There we go. Like that. All right. So with a POI, if you start as a base, the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out what kind of POI you are trying to build. And it has to do with the core that you put into the POI. For instance, right now, this is just a regular like player base core that's here. And if we take a look at the cores that you'll find in the inventory, there is a admin core, and then there is a NPC core. And I believe the NPC core is used for a destructible POI. Admin core is a little bit different. And please correct me on any of this if I'm getting this wrong, because again, I'm not master pro at POIs here. An admin core, the functionality of that is it's basically the POI is indestructible. Except unless you purposely damage some blocks on it or parts on it that you would allow to be destroyed. If you run a regular core on here, it would be basically you could just shoot it up with anything. You could blow holes through any part of the POI. That's good for some kinds of POIs, but other kinds of POIs, as an example over here, one of my most favorite builds ever is this Skaar Citadel POI. And this one, I had to run with the admin core because it's got a lot of switches and stuff that you're going to have to hit when you go through it. And if any of those were to get blown up, it would kind of break the POI, so you couldn't really complete it properly. Or if you happen to know where the core was, like on this one, I forget where it actually is, but the end switch to destroy the core is up over here. But there's 3 other switches in the build that need to be flipped before that happens, and then it blows up the core for you. So that's one way to go about it. Other kinds of POIs that you can do too, just general debris and stuff like that. I'm sure we've all seen a lot of that in the game. Hey, Jeffman72. That's kind of what this was. I was playing around with this a long time ago, just making rubble, basically. I actually copied part of a Skaar Raider ship and took like the cockpit area from it and put it on its side, and then laid it in here. So you can do POIs like this as well. But let's get back to the sample POI over here a minute. And what I'm going to do on this one is we're going to say that this one's got an admin core. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to pop that core in. So now technically this should be a POI. Hey, Lycan and JeffN72. No, I already said, Sorry, guys. I'm still new at this. I'm still, don't have anybody to talk to. So I'm reading your guys' comments here. There goes the stream elements. All right. So anyway, with POIs, things to think about. Here, I'm going to look at some other parts here. So right now, if you had a basic POI here, let's get rid of that. I'll put in an NPC core. Essentially, what you need is a core in here to destroy, which would probably be this part here. So if this were a POI, your whole goal to defeat the POI would be able to shoot this core, and then it's done. Now, if you do an admin POI, you can leave the core exposed where you can shoot it manually, or you can even rig it up with explosives on a switch or something like that. I think I actually did that on that SCAR build over there. So anyway, here as a sample POI. Okay, here let's. I'm almost wondering if I shouldn't grab an existing building when I'm doing this. Maybe I should. Okay, so here's another unfinished POI on my part. One that I started building a long time ago and then worked on it a little bit more, but never finished it. But with all these POIs, here I think I do have a side that is more finished. Yeah, get there. Yeah, this side was getting finished. This one here, I didn't put any. Oh, I guess I did. I didn't put any bad guys in, but I guess I do have some bad guys in here. So when we go over to some other parts here, let me grab some of that stuff here. In this alien block set, I'm going to get into there. You have a bunch of POI parts. Now, one other thing that hey, Excalibur, how you doing? Oh, you see me now. That's cool. So when you put in the bad guys, that's a big part of the POIs is the bad guys, and then of course the loot containers and that kind of stuff. There's a couple different ways to spawn in bad guys, and I'm gonna try to show both of these here. And there's some things that I haven't done, like the drone spawners. I have not built a drone POI or drone-based POI yet, but let me grab NPC spawner. And so when you place one of these, essentially, like everything else, like adjusting your light settings, you have options. You get into the devices on there, and you can basically go through and you can tell what it's going to spawn, and it gives you a whole list of all the bad guys in the game. So all kinds of stuff, and even not just bad guys too. There's shopkeepers in here and everything else. So it depends if you're making a nice POI or not. So say I wanted this one to spawn these guys here, these alien assassin reds, and I wanted to spawn 2 of them. Let's increase that to 4. We could have it spawn more stuff yet too, in the same spawner. So it could spawn 4 of these. It could spawn a bug, and I think it's going to do 4 of each of these. The next area on this POI setup here is the spawn area. It's kind of weird how Empyrion does this, and I don't really like how it does it, but you don't really have a choice. So essentially speaking, let's see how the interactive setup works. Basically, when you come in range of the bounding box here, which is just like setting up a box for a sensor or something like that, is if a player walks into this range, it activates that spawner to spawn the dudes. So by changing this bounding box here, by using our keys over here, let's say we here. I'm going to try to shrink it first here. A minute. Why is it not shrinking? Having some difficulties with the keys here. We can manually type that in too, but this should work. Oh, my numpad keys aren't working. Huh. That's a new one. Trying to reduce the bounding box. Well, okay. Now let me get out of there. There's another way to do it too. And you can set your range right here as well. So I thought the interactive setup should have worked though. So now, if you're walking into a room and you want some dudes to shoot at you, you would have to get in the range of that bounding box around the actual individual spawner to do it. Hey, Scarly. Oh, okay. Hey, I'm glad Scarly's here. Scarly knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. I'm trying to do a refresher course. I was actually working on that a couple hours before this video, trying to remember some of these things here. Right now, I'm just kind of looking at the spawners and some basic setup stuff. We're going to look at some more stuff in a bit. So, obviously, these spawners are pretty easy to deal with. You can, I believe, put these on a control as well. Like maybe there's a switch that you hit before the spawner's active. I've seen that done in POIs before as well. But right now, okay, this is your basic spawner. Now, this is the kind of spawner that you would see in game, and you can shoot it. So I'm sure we've all seen POIs like that in playing Empyrion, and you blow these up, and then they'll stop spawning people every so often, basically. There's another type of spawner, and that is this one here. They're NPC spawner thin plate. These operate differently, where you don't see the spawner at all. So you can't blow up the spawner on these guys. I'm just getting to the devices. And usually you wouldn't want to have a whole lot of these. You do have a, well, I don't know. It depends on the POI. You can use these. You just can't blow the spawners up to stop them from spawning. But you can tell it to not respawn. Like this might be right now I believe it's a setup for a one-time respawn on this particular one here. If I were to click that in, then it would probably, after a certain interval of time, which I really don't know what that is, it would keep spawning more and more. So if you ever ran POIs and you cleared a room and then you got killed, like I do a lot in POIs, and then you're running back and all of a sudden stuff starts spawning in again, that's why. Because the spawner is set to just keep doing that. I just don't know if there is a time interval you can set on. I don't see anything for it on how frequently the spawners will put people in. So, okay, so another basic thing with POI. So basically what I'm saying is you can build any base structure and have it be a POI. No time interval. Okay, thanks, Scarly. So, for instance, here's another POI I started and never completed. This one was meant to be a little bit more complicated because this is going to be a underground portion of the POI, and I didn't get around to actually building the top side of it yet. But this was going to be like a skaar arena that was mostly destroyed, and then it has this underground, like, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a subway, but some kind of tram or something that goes through there and does something. It's a really ugly looking train, I gotta say. But say I wanted to put some spawners in here. Let's grab one of these first. So this one we could blow up. We could get in here. We could set some settings. Say it's doing a couple assassins. We'll lower this bounding box down a lot. Again, this is the range that activates a POI when the player enters it. So that would spawn that, and you could blow this one up. And then again, with the other type, you can just kind of slap that in place. Oh, wait, this one here. And you can't blow this kind up, but it operates pretty much the same. And I believe you can trigger any of these with sensors as well, or any kind of controls you already set up in a map or whatnot. All right, so let's try to build a little bit more over here. I'll try to do a little bit of nice stuff here. Let's try to utilize a lot of copy and paste, and maybe make some rooms and corridors here. But let's get an angled wall, just kind of randomly thrown in here a second. This is one way I might go about angled walls. Get rid of all these inside blocks here. Now later on too, I have to get out of vanilla, and that's where I'm at right now. That is another question I've got, if anybody happens to know, is building POIs. Is there a way to test them in RE2 or 1 or whatever other scenario that you're dealing with? I don't know that one at the time, and that's why I'm in vanilla. with this currently. Alright, so here, let's grab, let's try to do a little bit of an angled wall out here. And you know what, before I go too far, I'm going to paint some of this too. Oh man, I got a stock color palette. Hold on, I'm going to steal a color palette from, let's say we're going to do this in Skaar. Let me steal the palette. Never use a stock palette. Just never do it. Alright. What I'm trying to do is set up some walls where I can copy and paste them. That's why I wanted to texture them now so I don't have to do it again. And I'm not going for quality here. I just wanted to have something in place. Let me get the light on too. And Skaar metal down here. So pretty cheap right now, but alright, I think we got enough. Here, let's copy a part of this here. So, go to the N key tool here. So I can copy sort of crappily textured wall here. Now, if you guys want to see me actually work on a real POI too, I could do that. I was just trying to set up some kind of test to show you, but other than that, hold on, let me just check out a comment here. Okay, let's talk about a test scenario. That is something I got to get into. I'll show you a test scenario in a bit too. I do have one that it worked from a long time ago, and it was a way to test some POIs. Here, let me fix my bounding box here a little bit. Alright, so I think we'll copy that, paste this. If you ever wanted to build a really big building or something fast too, you could build chunks like this very quickly. And say this was all nicely detailed in the side of a building, you could easily just bake part of it and then copy it around all over the place. And get rid of some of this junk on the inside here. Uh-oh. Oh, I don't think I pasted that there yet. There we go. Get rid of the box. Well, this is a bad example. It's hard to try to figure out good ways to do this from ground up here. But I wanted to make like just a functioning POI as quickly as I can and have it actually work is the thing. So I think so far, Scarly, if you're looking at this, right now I have a NPC core, and I assume this is the core, if I got this right, that if I was to come up on this POI with a tank, I could blow through any blocks I wanted to and just blow the POI up in this way. I just want to make sure that is correct. And then the other core, the admin core, you would have to go through, usually with a multi-tool, and damage the blocks that you want to be able to be destroyed. Okay. Red one is the standard one, yes. You can blow away the whole thing. The pink one is the admin core to use. The pink one. Oh, so maybe we got a different core. Let me get into... I'll just keep it on there. Let's look at cores. So I don't see a pink one. Oh, right-click the red core. Okay. Okay. Ah, there it is. NPC core. Admin. Okay, I was telling you about the wrong admin core. Well, just out of question, what is the blue admin core for then? Let's see, red light in the middle. Okay. Alright, so yeah, there's our NPC core admin. So, okay, so let's swap out the core here. We'll put in one of these. Now, if I wanted a player to be able to damage parts of this, including its weaponry, like guns and things like that, what you typically would want to do is take like a multi-tool, and I'll go to like salvage or something like that, and what you've got to do is just lightly damage it. So if I don't have any multi-charges, one sec here. There. Okay, so let's reload that. Reload. Reload. Reload! Did I grab the wrong thing? Those are multi-charges. Multi-tool. Doesn't work. 3 blocks. Won't reload. If you use a survival tool to salvage, does the same thing, but with less damage to it. Oh, a survival tool. Okay. Let's try that. I'm not sure why the multi-tool's not working. It won't reload. I do have these in my inventory. But, yeah, when I got this out, it doesn't reload. Weird. Alright. Survival tool. Better can be used for that. This one doesn't need any charges either. So we're going to go into, I guess, defense mode. No. Salvage mode. Yeah, basically, what you see, what I did with this is I took it down a little bit in hit points. From 910, or from 938 to 910. So now, because I did that, and this is an NPC, or a admin core, a player would be able to destroy whatever I damaged here with it. So that's something to know. If you use an admin core, you definitely got to damage some things, maybe, depending on what you're trying to accomplish with the POI. Yeah, they use energy cells now. Oh! I didn't know that either. That's probably why that didn't work. Use the debug multi-tool. Okay. Look at that. Debug. I don't think I have one of those. One thing, just to note, I am in vanilla right now and not RE2. But, yeah, I don't see a debug multi-tool here. The debug multi-tool lets you do 1 hit point of damage. That would be perfect, actually. Yeah, I don't think, yeah, vanilla has that as an option, though, on that. Survival tool works. Now, one other thing to keep in mind, when you're building POIs, there's other blocks that we would typically not use for, player creations, or rarely at least, and that is all these different damage blocks. There's so you can use like damaged steel or all your different materials basically in a damaged version of the block. Something to consider when building the POI. They give you some of the shapes, not all the shapes, but all these would be in one way or another have damage done to them. Even though they're probably full hit points yet. So even if you ran a damage block and you had an admin core, you'd still need to hit it with something like this to damage it just a little bit more. However, I guess if you were in RE2, yeah, you'd want to use that debug multi-tool, I think, which could only lower it down by 1 hit point rather than what I'm doing here. You could also shoot it with a gun. Like if I had a pistol or something, I could shoot the block. Any way you can damage a block will work, basically. But if you can take it down by only 1 hit point, that's probably the best. So, there is that. Alright. So, let's say, here, let's get some other parts out. And, here, I'm going to just go over to bases here. I want some doors. And, okay, we got our spawners. Now, another aspect, you can put teleporters in POIs, too. That's beyond my pay grade right now. I haven't done that yet. It's probably not too hard. You just probably have to put in a teleporter and then connect it to another teleporter within the POI. I'm going to try to cover that on the next video I do on this thing. Hopefully I'll know more then, too. I'm just kind of winging it a little bit, trying to remember exactly what I was doing before with building the POIs I did build. But, alright, okay, so here, I'm going to put an entry here, put in a normal door, get some more blocks in here. Yeah, let's just randomly put some half blocks here. That for now. Just make this little square. It's going to be a POI. Maybe 2 floors. So yeah, this is as quick and cheap as probably do this here. Now, also, you probably already know this. When you're building the POI, you don't have to concern yourself with CPU or what materials you're using. It can be pretty much anything you want to make it out of. So if you want to use all combat steel, you could. Just keep in mind, after a player beats that POI, they'll be able to salvage it. If you don't want them to get a lot of extreme good loot from salvaging, then you would use lesser materials on the POI. Now I'm going to grab some staircases here a second, too. Now with staircases, I typically never use the 45-degree ones like what you see right here. I almost always use these, but I do believe with a base, the 45s do work fine. But if you use them on like a CV or something like that, you could have a lot of problems. Especially if it's not level when you're trying to walk around or climb the staircase. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just build how about a double set of staircases here. I'll have that go there and then up to, so we got a floor here. And I'm just, for the heck of it, I'm going to fill stuff in a little bit. Now, another thing to think about when you're building POIs, too, is to, it's kind of neat if you can hide some things away. Maybe not get too ridiculous with that, especially with main plot points of the POI. You don't really want it to have be a confusing mess. But, you know, for the observant player, when you're walking through one of these, it would be, it's kind of cool to just find little hidden things somewhere that you wouldn't expect. Like if you're really searching, you get rewarded for that. And speaking of that, let me go to this set over here. Let's just say that this is going to be a little hidden thing back here. And I'm going to take a loot container and put it there. And in this case, let's try to do something a little bit different. I grab a damage block. And we're going to like put some rubble here. Oh, that's a bit big. Let's get something a little smaller than that. Yeah, maybe something like that. So you can kind of see that there's something behind there. I'm going to get in a normal block here so it doesn't look out of place too much. Okay, so here I could come up here and I could zap this with the this tool. So now that would allow players to blow this block up or shoot it, and then they would be able to come back over here and get the loot, essentially. Yeah, 45-degree staircases can be rough on high G. I can see that too. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever tested a 45-degree staircase in high gravity or something like 3 or 4 G's of gravity on it. Anyway, here, we're just going to add a second floor here. Again, trying to do this pretty quick, just for an example here. And I kind of want to move on to go into a little bit more complex of a POI setup. Again, this is above ground POI. So if there is stuff going underground, it won't work. Not the way this is set up currently. And I'm going to try to cover that in a second here. Now, Scarly was actually helping me with that in the video, and I would have had it really wrong. I thought it worked different when you're doing underground POIs, actually. Stealing some blocks, throwing them in here. I don't know why this one wall's angled. I just felt compelled to have a little bit of, you know, something going on here. It's pretty lame POI. Alright, so we got entry. We've got our core. Let me move that too. I don't want that here. Steal that. Let's say the core is going to go up. We'll put it up over here for now. Let me get some more blocks here for flooring. And we'll just fill in this wall here too. I mean, one trashy looking POI, that's for sure. But, yeah, okay, so now let's put in some spawners. So I'm going to do one of each type. Let's put in the spawner down here. And I don't know if rotating this matters. I don't think it does. But, and let's see. What do we want to spawn in here? There's a lot of things to pick. There really is. I don't even know what a lot of these things are yet. There's different races, but let's say we randomly want to put in a... How about one golem desert variety here? Okay, so now let's see if these keys are working again. I'm gonna try this with interactive setup again. And I don't want it to spawn when you're out of the POI this far away, so that box is way too big right now. Let me see if I can... The controls work here. Huh. Left control, left alt. Okay. I think I might have been doing something wrong. Yeah, okay, never mind. I was doing something wrong. There's no bugs here. So with this one, basically I want this guy to not spawn in until you enter the room. Oops. Something like that. So now we should have a box on the inside. So technically speaking, if we were testing this POI and we had it spawned out in the world there, it should flatten out the ground right below the POI area. And when I walk in this door, this spawner should activate and spawn whatever it's told to spawn. Maybe, yeah, I would normally try to rotate these in the direction you'd want them to be facing. I just don't know if it makes a difference or not. That's just a little bit of an unknown there. So we got that one there. Here, I'm going to adjust this one more time. I'm going to make it so it doesn't spawn so high in the air. Yeah, okay, so now it's just going to spawn on this general floor here. So then when we go upstairs, say we get to about this point over here, we can put in another spawner. And this one I'm going to use the other type. Now, out of advice before, you can put these in and they work just the same. Again, you're not going to see the spawner in this case. No, I'll not try to explain how to link the spawner to centers now. Okay. All right. So this one would work the same way right now. So all the same settings, whatnot. But in past POIs, it was kind of when I was getting advice from other players on how to do them, it was told to me that they spawn better often by actually having them like a block off the ground and upside down. And that's what was done a lot on this base here. So literally, like, put them up in the air a little bit, and then they kind of like, I think they just sort of spawn right below where these are set up at, more or less. So let's put one of those in on this POI. I don't know if they need to be a good block off the ground though, but let's put one here. Let's see if I got that facing the right way. And this one's gonna spawn in. What do we got? All kinds of things. You gotta watch some of the stuff that you're spawning. Some creatures are bigger, physically bigger than others, and if they don't fit in the area, like it's something extra big, it would probably be just stuck and just wobble around and not be able to move. So if you don't have the room, I wouldn't spawn like things bigger than people-sized creatures. Ripper Dog, let's put in 3 of those. Let's lower all this down. It's probably easier lowering this part down here. Internally, but yeah, now let's do the interactive. So basically hitting a lot of keys here. Widen those up. Something like that. Alright, so now, yeah, as soon as you get up here, this one would probably catch you off guard because you won't see it when you're going up the staircases, and then as soon as you walk, Bam, there's a dude there. You need upside down rotation for red box going down. You cannot extend the box in all directions, unfortunately. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. That was why it was done. Yeah, that's a big complaint I have about all things with bounding boxes like sensors and LCD placement. All of that stuff is all these things need to have 6 degrees of expansion, or I definitely think they should, but they only have 5 degrees. So even when you're like, say I was wanting to put in a sensor, let me get one of those out a second. Yeah, I'm sure it drives us all nuts. Like what I'm basically saying is, say I did have a, I'll put in a regular sensor, and I wanted to set the sensor range on this. Yeah, you get front, you get your sides, but you can't go back. Like I can't have the range of the sensor go this direction. So it's the same deal with these, and that's why you put it upside down, so you got gravity on your side basically, so they'll just be down there. So that kind of gives you like a 6 degree way to place those. So all right, let me do one last thing. I'm going to put a roof on this thing. Crappy looking roof too here. I'll steal some blocks from that. Here, I'll put one of those. Just make this so we got some kind of angle going on in here. I do a lot of this block stealing too. I really love that feature. But you got to have some kind of block down to place another block next to it. There. Now we got this little overhang. Okay, so technically speaking, this POI, well, here, we'll put a little ramp up here to the door. This POI technically would work, I think. Let's see. Difficult sometimes with thin pads to make it so they don't spawn out of the air. Yeah, there's a lot of little things with these, and that's why it's like building a POI. A lot of building a POI is testing the POI too. It's obviously the more you build, you probably understand how things work better, and you get faster and faster at it. But yeah, other than that, so this POI, I would come in, I would shoot 2 dudes that would spawn here. I could blow up, well, here, this isn't very secure there, but I could blow out that block and technically go steal this chest. I could walk upstairs. As soon as I walk up to this point about right here, I should be in the range of that spawner. They should spawn. Then I could come around, I could shoot this core, and POI's done. Matt is an expert at doing spawn pads. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. All right, so this is your basic type of POI, above ground, land-based POI. Now, back in the day when I first started making some POIs, I did look up some technical specs on Alion's page, and once, if I got the numbers right, I believe that your maximum block size POI you should have on the ground is 40 by 40. If that is correct yet, I do believe if they went underground, you could have them bigger, and if they were in space, they could be bigger. But I believe 40 by 40 was the technical Alien max limits of a POI. I have, however, seen a whole lot of POIs in the game, in the RE2, that are bigger than that. So I don't think that's super important at this point in time, but I believe one thing is important with a POI, and that is that you want it to be square. I don't know if that's true though. Like for instance, like right now, this one's probably not square. What do we got here? Like eight blocks by who knows? Yeah, so this one isn't squared off or anything like that. But I don't know if that's the case. If it should be a perfect Like, if you're going to build a POI, have it like 20 by 20 or 30 by 30 or 40 by 40, rather than 25 by 38. That might not make a difference, or maybe it only makes a difference if you have an underground POI. So that's something else. Now, another thing, like this one over here, when I was building it, I think I had this one set to the 40 block limit. So I think if you were to measure this out, it would be 40 blocks by... In fact, I even was counting it out over here on the one side. You can see I was trying to be perfect down with 40 by 40 when I was doing this one. All right, so now more advanced POIs, and that's getting into the ones that go underground. So as an example, I spawned in a POI that's in the game here, abandoned reactor. Right now, well, actually no, there was this one I was using as a test over here on recommendation. The abandoned vessel yard. And I think I'm going to have to respawn it because I noticed after I did a procedure to it, it redraws stuff all the way around the bottom, so I can't really see what's going on right now. So let me spawn one of these in. And just so you know, too, when you do spawn in creations, if you go over to... It's this... It's not giving me my... It's not workshop, no. That's not it. Stock. Own. What was it? Internal. Okay, I think you have to click on internal over here. And then you can see all the POIs that are in the game, and you can spawn them in. This is a great point of reference if you're going to build your own. Give you an idea on how a lot of these other ones are built. So what I actually want to do is I want to find one of these that's in abandoned. Probably that same one I was looking at there. Certainly not seeing the abandoned, so there's a lot of POIs. Yeah, there they are. Okay, abandoned. Which one was I looking at before? Which was a good test example? It was the vessel yard. I'm gonna just respawn this. Maybe. I've been having big problems with spawning things in the game too. Sometimes there's a big delay depending on what it is. Okay, so this one, POI in the game, and it goes. It's got, this is your upper floor. So when you see it in the game, all this blue blocks down here would be ground, and then it would go down below there into the lower section of the POI. With this one, to do that, it got a little bit confusing because I thought it was simpler than it is. But essentially speaking, there's another block in the game here called a filler block. And you have to have like 2 rows of these filler blocks to kind of define the area below it. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on comments. Let's see. No, it doesn't have to be square. If you have underground, yes, it does need to be square. Okay, that makes sense. So if you have an underground POI, it needs to be square. Do you know if there's a limit? Should you follow 40 by 40 max size being square for an underground POI, or can you build a bigger one if you want? No size limit. Okay, cool. That's good. I didn't like that restriction either on building POIs. It kind of limits what you can do with one. So yeah, no limit is awesome. So this part gets a little confusing here. So what is going on around here is there's filler blocks in all parts of the POI that aren't the interior space here. And here's a version, here's a version of it that I removed those filler blocks with a console command, but it's kind of drawn all this back in anyway. This is kind of messing me up there a little bit. Okay, only size class go in hand, and building beyond size class 15 POI is a pain. Okay, that's a pretty big POI. Size class 15 is pretty big. Does it, if you go beyond size class 15, is it cause performance problems or something like that? Or is it just is there any more steps that you got to do in that? Just curious on that one. All right, so what I did here, after I spawned this in, I was told to look at the structure. Now, one thing, you got to have all these blocks in there, but they're not they're not, they don't provide structural integrity. And that is something else you got to pay attention to when you're building a POI. I've got one POI that's probably not quite cool with structural integrity, and that's this one over here. If you don't know how to check out structural integrity on something, if you were to hit N on your keyboard and then go to debug mode, you can turn on show structural integrity. And yeah, POIs, because they're a building, they care about it. I think maybe I did fix this one before. It's pretty weak in places, or I don't think I have some blocks all the way down to the ground. But there was a point in time before I added this pillar right here, there was a span that went from this section to this section, and it was too weak in the middle. And I was trying to reinforce it by adding another pillar in. So that is something else you gotta keep in mind when you're building a POI. It will collapse if it's not structurally sound. And anytime you see pinks and bright reds like this, that's pretty bad. So this side of the base would fall, and I'm not sure why necessarily. I could fix that. It certainly looks like it would stand up, but yeah, something else to definitely keep in mind when you're building a POI. Most POIs probably won't be affected too much by that, especially if they're underground, but and flying POIs and things like that, that's something different. You don't have to care about that one there. Yeah, always did that. Oh, thanks, Scarly. We're talking about this POI over here. Yeah, let's see. Size class 8 to 10 for standard POIs. For auxiliary POIs, 10 to 15, and drone base size class 20. Dungeons, anything above that is a special one-off case. All right. All right. So that's something there too. But anyway, back to the point of this, and I'm trying to figure this one out here. Let me turn off that structural integrity for now. I'm going to do a console command here up on one of these that I just spawned in, so we can see what it looks like. Hopefully it doesn't redraw. I had it all set up, but you can't see anything because it's drawing these blocks around it yet. So what I'm going to do here, this is another trick. Well, not a trick really, but I'm going to turn on debug information. So if you go to the console by hitting the tilde key and do DI, it brings up this little box over in the top right of your screen there. And what's nice about that is it shows you whatever blocks you're looking at, like right now, and it gives you the exact name of it. If you take a look at the bottom line, if it's visible enough on the video, it says that this is just called a filler block. What I want to do is I want to do a console command to remove all the filler blocks on this particular base. So to do that, I'm going to need to know its ID. So this one here, I can say it's 1023. So then I hop into the console. I will do a replace blocks command, and 1023 for the ID of it that it is. And then the block I want to replace is the one I'm looking at currently, which is filler block. This is case sensitive, by the way. So any of these block names you type in, you got to have those capitals, exactly how it says it right up in here. And I don't want to replace them with a different block in this case, so I want to do empty. And that'll remove all of that kind of block from this particular build. So if I do that, it gets rid of all of that. Now we can actually see what the build looks like with all the extra filler blocks in it. Now, I had that set up before the video, but after I exited the game and came back in, it started drawing this around it, and then you couldn't see what was going on anyway. So kind of a weird one there. Yeah, on that POI over there, I really should finish up that POI, and that's not the only one. I got a lot of work into this one. This was a player base, but I was and it just ran out of fuel. But I was converting it to a POI, and I was probably 2/3 done with it at that. And it's got a course, it's got the spawners, it's got all this whole switch thing, and you go through it all over the place. And I was changing the crap out of this base, but I got to a certain point, and I didn't know what to do with it. It's like I had the course run the player out like on one part, but then it was talk about maybe going outside and then accessing a door, like actually do a spacewalk and then come around to the other side to finish up the POI. And yeah, I sort of stopped working on it then. But I already had quite a lot of time into getting this one going. Even on that other POI over here, I did work on it some more, but one of these sides, like I started working on this side, so I did get some more interior space, and there's a kind of goes up a few floors, and it eventually gets to the main floor, which kind of walks across this whole center area. But it's a pretty good sized POI, and it's got a lot of unfinished areas in it yet. The layout's kind of weird for running a course through it very nicely too. So anyway, I know I'm got off topic on what I was looking at here again, but I'm good at that. On this here, basically even the stuff underground has to be from what I can gather, unpainted concrete, disappointed. Yep. It has to be structurally sound. Those filler blocks that are used here, like these guys here, I guess don't have any structural integrity to them. So that kind of makes it a little bit more tricky yet. And like this POI, I believe this is the ground level right here, right below where these small angled wedges are. And the thing that I'm not quite getting is, like, I thought before in the past that all you needed was like a 2 solid block row between the upper portion of the POI and everything that was below that upper portion. But the way I'm seeing this one's done up, it's kind of like it's got this whole frame. It's not necessarily 2 blocks. So I don't know exactly how it identifies the underground area from the above ground area, really. That's like, here, let me spawn in the, I don't know, we still have it. So this is what it looked like when I first brought it in, and obviously it works. But, yeah, it's like if we dig some of these blocks out, in a lot of areas, especially when you get in there, there's not a 2-block row between the top half and the bottom half. So what I'm thinking is everything underground just gets filled in and surrounded by these blocks, if I'm reading this correctly. So like if, for instance, like put them in, basically how the person did this over here. Simply put filler blocks, filler blocks get converted to terrain. Oh, that's how it works. Okay, so all these filler blocks here end up being terrain blocks. Don't have a filler block, it won't get converted to terrain. Okay, well that actually makes it kind of simple. So, all right, so let's on my where's my skaar base thing over here? Yeah, on this thing here. Say I had a building on top of here. Here, let's do something for fun. I'm gonna put a building on top of it. See how this works out. Kind of a big building to put on top of it, but maybe it'll fit. Try to get my bounding box sort of alright. Probably a little bit bigger than the bottom. I don't know. This one might have been set to 40 by 42 because I was trying to be really strict when I started this. Okay, so we're gonna copy that. And yeah, this is another little trick here. So we're gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna remove the selection. I'm not gonna paste it. I'm gonna remove the selection, and I'm gonna go over to where I want to add that to this creation. And then I'm gonna look at this, and I'm gonna just put down a random box here, just like that, and then I'm gonna hit paste. And now we got the whole building, and it's now part of this well, once I paste it, it's part of that creation. So I'm gonna move this where I want it. And yeah, you know what? I think I was accurate with this one too. I think it is 40 by 40. Yeah, so now we got a top side of the building. Let me see if I got that at the right height. No, okay, and then we'll paste it. Give it a second here. There. Now we can remove the selection. All right, so we just made this POI a whole lot bigger. So if I wanted, let's say, let's do a little modification here. Let's say we have a hole here. I'm just going to drill right down into that a little bit. Oh. All right, here. Let's get so the heck of it. Let's grab some elevator blocks. And we'll go there. And I guess it comes to there. All right. So now, all right. Okay, so now if I wanted to make this, that lower area below ground, I think I would need to replace all these edge blocks here with that, so it would be terrain, and then probably on all the side walls as well, if I'm going about this correctly. So that would take a little bit. I probably want to mass do this a little bit different than I am right now. Actually, here, let's, yeah, because all these are just, they weren't anything. They're just blocks. So if I went around and I got rid of all the outer walls here and all the floor space up along here and put in these blocks, then all these blocks should be terrain. And then, yeah, I should be able to go below that terrain into here. And all the hollow areas should still be hollow the way they are, I do believe. Now, keep in mind, when you build something that goes underground as well, and that's another setup that I'm not really ready to cover in this particular video, is you'd want to, you got to give it some parameters when you put them into the game as well. Like you can kind of set their height, I believe, how that works. I don't know if it will automatically figure it out. Hey, Crazy! I'm just kind of going over what I kind of know about POIs, but I'm trying to figure out some things as well as we go, because some of these, the advanced POIs, I don't really know how to necessarily do all of it quite right, but trying to figure that part out, because I would really like to do a POI that does have an underground. I think that would be a really cool thing. But I'm assuming if I completed this process around this whole lower area that this would be correct. I'm hoping. And that would be all terrain blocks there. You do that on the floor. So on these blocks here too, like, here's another, say you go all the way down into the POI. I'm on the bottom floor of the POI right now, and rather than like metal blocks here, I had these blocks. Would I just see like a train on the floor then? Would that still work? Let's see. I would not recommend blocks by filler. Just lower the block by 1. Or put filler block above. Okay. Blocks by 1. Okay, so you're saying not get rid of the blocks that I'm doing there, but maybe just like have the side wall and the bottom. Oh, I can stretch that out. I'll do it. I have trouble trying to make the trying to get the big squares made with the blocks at once here sometimes. There we go. I guess it did a roll there. But you're saying basically, if I kept all the blocks and just kind of wrap this around it. Oh, come on, do it. No, go this way. There we go. Yeah. Like that, then it would work. Yeah, and you do need structural integrity too, yeah. Yep. So, and these will not provide any structural integrity, so wherever they are, you got to watch it. Like the POIs we're looking at over here, you can see that beyond the filler block version that you see here, there is structural integrity going all the way down. Like all these, this whole structure is supported by solid blocks kind of below it. And then these are just kind of wrapped around and filling in all the other area, basically telling it all to be terrain, which makes sense. And that's generally speaking how you do a POI. Now on the POI itself, Of course, you can go totally nuts with your creativity and try to come up with any scenarios you really want. Couple lessons with building like POIs or level design in general is you typically want to try to avoid dead ends after a while. Like you could have side rooms. You know, you're walking down a main corridor and there's room to the side. That's totally cool. But if you go down this big long corridor and then it just dead ends and goes nowhere and you got to backtrack all the way back again, that's usually not a good way to go about level design. It's just one of those little things. You kind of want, you know, to keep the flow going. You don't want to have people like go all the way somewhere and then have to backtrack and go through it again. Unless, or maybe you do. Maybe on a POI, you would want something like that for a certain reason. But that's just something to keep in mind. Other than that, I mean, it's like anything kind of goes, though, with your POI that you're making. Obviously, there's a lot of different POIs out there, and a lot of them are very different from one another. And beyond just building these ground-based POIs, there's another whole set of POIs that you can do. I've seen a couple of these before. Let me try to spawn one of them in. Yeah, there's... I don't know if I'm looking at quite the right thing here, but here. I wanted to find an asteroid-based POI, but I think you can spawn in, again, if you're on this mode over here, which is internal, you can spawn in any of these asteroids. And this is something I've always wanted to do with the game, too, is to build some kind of asteroid base or something. I've never done it. I've seen other people do it. So here's like one, looks like it's just kind of a blank asteroid here. So we could technically have this out in space, and we could carve into this. I'd probably need a drill or something to cut away these blocks here, but you could hollow this out. I could put in a core in it, NPC core or admin core, and use this as a POI. Might even, I don't know if I can paint it, or I might have wanted to select a different asteroid that wasn't made of brass. But yeah, so you could do that too. I think we've seen those POIs out there. They are very, very cool. All right, so now after all this talking, I'm actually wondering, should I actually try to, rather than this little test thing here, should I actually try to make a legit POI? And if I do, I was thinking about building it skaar, because krill kind of pisses me off. It doesn't piss me off. It's just I don't like how the lighting and stuff looks on a lot of the krill anymore. It looked better back in the day when I was working on them. The lighting was different in the game, and the whole point of krill and the look that I wanted krill to always have. And let me see if I can adjust the settings here in the environment. That's one advantage of working in on planet rather than space. You can adjust your lighting and stuff. But before I could used to be able to turn on fog and some things like this. Let me turn on fog too. And it didn't look like this. It would be, everything wasn't so black. And you could see the outlines better, and it just generally looks so much better than it does now. And this is a problem I've had for a while now. Let's see, comments. I find krill hard work to build. Yeah, krill's kind of rough sometimes. Yeah, they're different. Trying to be unique. The whole point was they were supposed to look like the hull was supposed to look relatively black, and it was supposed to be on like a alien planet. Picture like the early Aliens movies, you know, that kind of mood, you know, just desolate and nasty and foggy and creepy and all that kind of stuff. And that's what they were supposed to look like. But since, you know, the game had its lighting updated a while back now, the look kind of just doesn't work anymore. I don't really like the krill look all that much in daytime. I guess it's all right though. And then there was another problem I ran into with krill, is the fact when I started building krill stuff, the first ones, in fact, I think it was a player base was the first, well, or the second krill creation that I made. An issue. I'm trying to remember where I was going with this one. Crap. Yeah, no, the thing is a lot of the materials I was using were concrete, and they had different textures you could use, like this texture, and some other ones that I was using on Creel builds. And then when I started building Creels, moving things, I couldn't use any of those textures. So then they ended up just being a lot less textures and more purpley than what they were supposed to be because I just didn't have all the filler in textures to do the rest of it with, and that part kind of always sucks a little bit too. Um, yeah, outside relatively black. They use this 3 tones of purple for the color. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Actually, 4 tones. Four tones of purple. It was, when I was trying to figure out what to do with Creel, I didn't, these big flat surfaces like that. There's not a lot you can do, and the only thing you can really do is mess with your colors. I know like Crazy Z in here too. He does a lot of the color gradient stuff. I've seen some other authors do that too. Um, Having the custom color palette, you can easily do that. But what I really like right now, the fog I think is looking all right. But man, as soon as I get the scene to about the darkness, I think it ought to be at. Um, I don't know. That's not so bad there. This is close to what I wanted it to look like with the Creel. That's why they got the texture lights too to shine through the dark. But what I hate with the lighting is it's pitch black. Like I got no visible pixels on the screen, and I'm not even at full like nighttime. And that just destroys the look of these things. So you gotta have some subtle tones there. You can see a little bit of differences in gray shading and stuff like that. And when it goes straight up black, just pure black, um, that sucks. That is my main complaint I've got with the lighting in the game at this time. It didn't used to be that way though, and that's what kind of bothers me. I used to think the lighting was just better than what it is now. Let's see. Outside relatively, yeah. So finally agree the black colors and not dark green. Yep. Planet gets darker than space nowadays. Yeah, I've noticed that too. And that's why when I was working on the current ship, the Persis CV4 that I was working on, that's why I was doing it in space. However, I always used to like to do all the interior stuff like that on planets in the past because then I could adjust the lighting and then I could have a daytime or nighttime and take a look at how the lighting's going to look in it. But now it's always too dark on the planet and it's brighter in space. And I don't know what else to say about that. Going into one of these here, I do have fog on too. I think that might help a little bit, but this would be pretty nighttime-ish right now. Yeah, even this, like walking around in this POI, it looks entirely too dark. Not getting that contrast. Obviously, you see the texture lights and stuff, but yeah. And to correct that, you got to have like massive intensity and size on your lights. And I usually don't like to go beyond 2 on intensity on lights because going up higher usually creates these awful looking glares that I just don't like very much. But I'm going to turn one up to really bright here and we'll only make its range bigger. But even at that, even with this big light, now it's... yeah, look at this. It's still like complete black on the wall here. And that's actually looking at all this, but it's just so dark. And that's just, something to keep in mind on POIs. If it's ground based, at least it's consistent. You know it's going to be this dark. But, with moving creations that you build, your player ships and stuff like that, you're getting a different lighting environment in space than you are on the ground. And that can kind of really screw you up when trying to dial in your lighting for the ship as well, or whatever creation it might be. But yeah, anyway, which POI am I looking at? I don't remember. Did I have a POI with one of these guns in it? I guess I did. Yeah, I made this thing. I think someone else helped me with this POI, though, with some of the inner workings, if I do remember. It could have been a Scarly. or Matt CZ, or both. Okay, try turning spotlight off. Okay, my spotlight is off. Yeah, okay, our Scarlet. Yeah, I remember there was a lot of when I got into the whole Creel POI thing in the past, yeah, I was getting some. Scarly was a great help. I think Matt CZ helped out and some other authors as well. So it was really cool. I had to try to learn that stuff. All right, well, here, let me get rid of this fog. And weather clear. If we put a 1 by it, it does it instantly. So there we go. We are back to normal weather. All right, so for real this time, let's start building a POI. It's some kind of building. And then again, I'm going to want an upper side and a lower side. But one thing I want to bring in first is a newer skaar build. And I'm scared of hitting any of these controls here because it often locks my game up. Like it kind of is now. Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so something small. I just want the color palette. The color palette I grabbed from the other skaar creation out there is not up to date. So I'm gonna try to bring this in. It was for RE2, but it does have the color palette. Oh, the updated color palette. Okay, so we'll start there. Let's get a base core. And I want to get away from that so I don't have frame rate issues. So we'll come way over here. Put this somewhere. Alright. And now, base material to POI. Kind of want access to the concrete textures, but most of it I would rather have like the steel textures. I do want some damage blocks out here. Oh, hey, you know, one last question. If anybody knows, I noticed obviously you got your regular damage blocks for your different materials over here, concrete, steel, whatnot. But I've seen this whole new set of these damage blocks here, even for wood. But there's like 2 each, and one is for signal destroyed, and the other is for signal touch. And I don't know what these are or what that means. Like blocks as signals. I don't understand what that is. That's kind of new to me there. Kind of took me off guard a little bit there. Here, I'm going to grab some regular steel blocks while I'm looking at this. And, alright, so building on the ground here. Let me get the sunlight a little bit brighter here. Alright, so let's say, okay, so I got that other skaar lower section there. Let's say I wanted to build like a top half, and I wanted it to be like a half-destroyed arena, like a battle arena. In the Skaarverse, it would be more of a like a Mad Max kind of Thunderdome kind of arena. So, not for sporting events, but for doing all the Mad Max kind of things. So, all right, let's say, and I'll look at the size of it later. I don't really care right now, but what I want to do is kind of set up a wall and figure out how high I want like the arena seats to go and where they're going to go, and then maybe build some other buildings around that. So let's just say that this up here would be the top back floor of the arena. Here, we'll go here. Do a little bit of like wireframe block stuff here. I'm trying to keep this at so I can do a 22.5 degree angle here between rows of seats. That's what this is going to be. And we'll have that come down several levels. Probably a bit much. Yeah, it'd be kind of a bit much here. Let me do the same thing, but start at a lower position. Something like that. This is a common way to try to map out something you're going to build too. Kind of like you're drawing on a piece of paper, sort of, but in like Minecraft block form. Okay, so this would be our bottom of the arena here. And these are our like seats going up the side, and this is all going to go by up here. And this won't be as tall either. Okay, so that would work. So that's we're kind of looking at like a cross section of it. So following this course, if I wanted to make this thing relatively, well, I don't know. Let's take this as an example, and we'll copy this. unfortunately, much, but we're going to rotate it around a little bit. And we'll just stop there with it. And so I go all the way to there. Okay, so copy, paste, and let's rotate this. I could do this in symmetry too, but I don't want this to be symmetric. It might have a couple sides of the same, but I want it to be very asymmetric overall. So let's put in one more of that. So let's do another copy, paste, and rotate that around. I'm going to leave this other side open, so it's not going to have any seats. Okay, so basic general layout. Don't really feel like counting the blocks right now, but I'll make sure it's like squared off for the underside later on. So I guess what we want to do is try to figure out how to run these seats. It's gonna want to round off and connect to the other side. There's not seats here yet, obviously. Let's say we go up 3 from there. Go in like 2. And 2 more there and there. And that would kind of be the round angle at the bottom. Okay, so this would be a walk path here, and the seats would kind of go up around it. Trying to do rounded seats is not going to be something that Empyrion is very good at. So you can use signal to destroy the block upon touch or by a signal. Okay, so these blocks that I brought up a little bit ago, ones we were looking at in here. So you can signal these to be destroyed. I guess that. Oh, yeah. I guess that's what the single stands for. So in other words, if I had a bunch of these blocks, or, let me place one of these blocks. Once, let me get that out. So if I had this here, and let's make some kind of signal. Let's just do something random out in the P menu here in a minute. Say I said test destroy. I don't think I can. Oh, I guess I could. All right, so we got that. That's kind of a crappy, cheap way of doing it, but and then can I set this block to test destroy? I can. So what happens when I go into the P menu and look at that. Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's something I didn't know. I didn't even know that was possible. I think 7 days to die, or I'm sorry, yeah, 7 days to die. You're in the house and zombies jump out of the wall. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's easy to do. Very easy to do as well. So yeah, you could build a whole structure out of these blocks, and I think you'd probably have to individually assign them. Reset that a second, and test destroy on that one. Test destroy on this one. And that, and we hit our P menu option. Bam. Okay, that's something I did not know. That's got to be pretty new, right? I don't remember seeing that at least a few years ago. I wouldn't say new, but it's been a long time with this game. Things have changed. But that is really cool. So you can do it by player touch as well. So the one I just did here was a signal one, but let's see how the player touch one works. Let's grab that touch block. I don't know if it would work where I'm at right now because I'm in creative. But say I get out of God mode and I, oops. And I don't know how to touch it. Oh, yeah, it still works. I just ran into it. That's all I did. I ran into it. The block disappeared. Blew up. That's cool. That's a neat little option there. You could have some pretty intricate traps in your POIs using that tech there. It's been in for a year at least. Yeah, makes sense. They since they redid the start of new POIs. Okay, okay. I missed that. I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing at all. All right. Well, back to this here. I'm gonna get in some. I wanted these to be like your walkways up to the seats. And again, I'm gonna destroy a lot of this efforts built. But let's say we go from there, from the floor level, which should actually be one more down right there. Let's get these on another side here too. I might not even use these staircase pieces the way they are either. We'll see. Hardest thing is going to be trying to make this nice and curvy, and it's going to have to do it at different levels. And I wouldn't mind having like a wedge curve going on here too. So in other words, like, I don't know if I should do a 22.5. Let's try. So say we went like 2 of these. We swapped out this one with... No, you know, that's not really going to work. Let's go the other way. 2 of these, and then into that. I'm going to do the same thing, kind of repeat what I'm doing on both sides here. Yeah, I just put those in front of it, didn't I? That's that one, that, and that there. Keep the light on. Let's try that one more time there. And go into a 45. Last block here. One nice thing about working on POIs, though, is you don't have to concern yourself about your building costs or your CPU or any of that stuff. It just doesn't matter. Or even, well, size class you'd probably still kind of want to keep an eye on, but the other stuff you probably don't need to care about very much. All right, so we're gonna put some floor down over here. I don't want to. I'm not going to do the same repeating process for all these sides. I'll have to copy what I've got going on over here to the other sides and save some time. I might do more of the floor here too, but let's get a general idea on how this would work out. Also, once you get up to the top row, I did want like some kind of walk path that would go around at least to a couple sides of this. But let's, okay, so we got one kind of row of seats. It would be neat to add enough room to actually add a seat. Let me get some deco parts here a second. You know, all these seats are going to look like crap, though. Hold on. There's that other group of... not the stone stuff. This stuff. I think there's some seats in here, too. Man, these just don't really fit. Yeah. See what we got here. Yeah, I think I'm going to have problems with seats. I don't think there's anything. I mean, that would be kind of... yeah. I think I would have to use, like, these benches. Where are they at? something like this, I guess. Which I guess could work. Alright, so the next row of seats, you want to be able to see over those. Try to repeat the pattern. Like about. Oh, I got another flaw in this design here to do an arena, and that is I need like a place to walk off from the staircase to the seats. Something I didn't think about yet. So like technically this would be here. I need, yeah, you could walk that route there. Let's go up 2 from there. Keep that one open. One of these here. Alright. I don't know if this block is the right angle I was looking for either. I guess it works. Maybe these would have to be pushed back then. Never tried to do this with Empyrion before. I always had this idea I wanted to build an arena, just for the heck of it. Mainly a POI. I wouldn't work as a base or anything, but never tried to do it before. It sounded like it could be done though. I don't know. Maybe let's put the block back I took out. I don't like how the staircase is lined up right there with this thing, and then these look like they're too far back now. So let's. That's rough. That is rough. I wonder, should I get rid of the 22.5? And I hate the 45 staircases, but it might work better for this. That's it's really going far out there. Let's say it did that, and it went to that, and let's say it goes up 2 rows. And then we build up some kind of, I could even go at a 45 or some version of that here. Or just on the top. That would be more of a solid wall there. You know how cool it would be if you could use small blocks in the build? Then I'd probably try to build like benches out of small blocks, like SP blocks, what I mean, and not use these parts. But I guess that could kind of work. All right, let's get some, make this look kind of crappy here too. Oh, I mean, crappy in a different kind of way. It looks crappy already, but I'm just saying, we'll see if we can get some kind of backing wall here that's kind of, I don't know, it's not supposed to be well kept or a very fancy place. Did want to try to get some details back there. Or like a backer of the around there between the levels. All right, well, let's try to wrap this around at least here. So we're coming out. I gotta fix my staircase on the other side here too. In fact, you know, let's just take this new design and copy it over to the other part. Get rid of this. Definitely like these N key tools in the game, though. The copy and paste stuff, I think, actually does work quite well. I was scared to death of it when I first started using it because I occasionally had some issues, but I think all those issues were cleaned up over time. So this is like, wow, something that actually does work pretty good in the game. Not copying much here, but... Oops. There we go. So we're going to line up to one more back. Now let's start a curve on this wall. Just do that there. Just kind of run it from both sides here. So we got our chairs would be right from there. We got that behind it. Then it goes to this. Trying to get the measuring right. That right. Wrong block. No? Oh, I got these rotated backwards. That's it. There and there. Little block row there. Looks even. I think so. Man, I wish there was more angles too. I think we all would wish that. But, yeah. Let's go from there, and then let's try to bend it here. Something like that. Alright, let's put floor space here. Alright. Problem with that block I'm using there is I won't be able to rotate that very nicely. Or make it wrap around good. Maybe it shouldn't even care. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try not to care. Meaning, it'll just be this extra little build-up area over here. This will be our next floor of seats. That could kind of work. So there's no such thing as an angled seat either that you could put in here. Make that work out. Let's put some deco something going on back over here. Yeah. actually be... Oh, those are right on top. Okay, so let's jump there. Another level here. Keep on wondering if I should bevel this off a little bit up here too, but I don't know if that would help much. This kind of works. Just kind of want something decorative in the middle here at least. Do something with the blocks. I wonder if we actually put square blocks in here. Since we're kind of at a 45-degree angle here, it's gonna not look necessarily like square blocks. Maybe put some random beams or something there. Don't like that square in the middle. So let's try like that. Keep on going for like carbon because I want to normally build ships or player creations. Yeah, I'm always going for the carbon for all this little trim stuff, but there's no point in doing that on the POI. Not going to accomplish anything. So waste time. So just trying to get a look at this, looking at this from a 45-degree angle on how the blocks actually look. Now these blocks here, they could do something too. So let's go to that one. That kind of lines up to that other part there. Let's move out another balcony. Kind of strange. I don't think the game's meant to build arenas. Just doesn't have quite the right parts really to pull that off. Let's see. Comets here. Assuming it will grow big sooner or later. Yeah. Yeah. Probably going to be, yeah, pretty good sized POI. I don't know what my count is. Like if this, let's just say, for instance, the outer wall on the top side would be about here. If I were to count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 9, 10. So we're 10 blocks to there. So I think this would fit within 40. If it was doing that, and then you'd have like 10 blocks. This should be center. So yeah, I think it would work out actually pretty good. About the right size. Man. All right. Let's do what we're doing on the bottom. Keep the consistency at least. That would start there. And of course, out below the seats, this would be like usable space for the POI as well on the upside, on the top side of it. And then I may just very well use what I already started building. I just kind of showed that skaar underground thing for the bottom side. That's kind of the idea. So part of that's done already. It's not up to the latest in the skaar texturing, but it's not a big deal. I could get that finished up pretty good. So it's only going to have like 2 rows of seats. So you got, well, actually it would be 3. So 1, and then row 2 would be here, and row 3 should be, oops, there. And this is our outer wall. Yeah, I think all that should work. Let's keep the consistency going here a little bit. And once I get this laid out too, what I'll probably do is texture a small portion of this or whatever I can, and then duplicate that all over the place, and save a lot of time. Just trying to get this layout down to start with takes a while. A lot of trial and error. It's just pretty common with any build in Empyrion. And also, too, with the end key tools, there's other options where you can flip things. Ramcharda, if I said the author name correctly, you made a huge Carrara theater once. I'm not sure what kind of theater that is, or if I said it correctly. But is it kind of like a round amphitheater kind of thing, like you typically see with sports events or concerts or anything like that? Not sure what type of theater that is. It sounds cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to build something like this, but I've just never did it because it won't work as a player base or anything. So it would have to be a POI. But this is a POI, so hey, why not? Okay, so looking at this row here, so we got to come up with a way to connect to round off this other wall here too. I probably ought to keep that consistent too. Do the same blocks I was doing down below. Except they're gonna have to stretch out further. So let's do an extra row. And then start. Yeah, that should line up there. That would be correct. And the top. We want a couple there. Yeah, I think 3. Solid block there, and it should be there. Full. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I was yeah, Matt was saying been to a Olympic Stadium over the weekend, and yeah, they have stores and shops and all kinds of stuff too. Even downtown where I live, there's an arena. It's doing all that stuff too. It's got, well, the shops are typically in at least that the arena close by is there's walkways down in here, and you got stores and shops that kind of go along the whole underside area of the arena, and then up over at the top part of the arena, there's all these box offices, or well, basically suites for businesses and things like that. So they can rent out a suite, which would have maybe food catered to that area, fancier seating and stuff like that. Um, so it's also doing that in that particular arena. All really good ideas for this too. I mean, the top side will only be probably not a whole lot of action except for down under here. A lot of this is just going to be stuff to look at. There might be some dudes to shoot in here, but most of it I think is going to be kind of going through this part here. There's going to have a way that goes down below, and then it's going to get into like that subway area below it, which would be the rest of the POI. So just a different approach. I mean, it would be easier making more of a traditional building with just rooms and hallways. And that's kind of how it is on the bottom side. It's just I wanted to, I don't know, I just thought this would be kind of neat to try something different. Again, I really should try things that are easier to do when I'm doing videos, though, because this is like well in the experimental branch of things that I've never really tried to do. Um, but I don't know. It's always fun. It's fun to see how it can come out or not come out. Now, pretty soon too, try to get a little bit more of this done. I want to get to the texturing too, on at least a little bit that's done over here, because textures and all the details are going to make it look way better than it looks currently. Hopefully, at least. It's usually the case doing this part, especially not doing like a fancy sleek ship design, which can look good without any textures. This is going to be very texture dependent to look like anything. Get rid of all this junk over here for now too. All right, so yeah, we got the, I did move the pallet here already, didn't I? No. I think it's still memory. Yes. Okay, so skaar palette. A lot of these toned down shades and some colors, you can tell the bright ones. These are the ones I'm not using, unless they're a texture light. I think this might be used for a texture light, if I can remember, or maybe it was that shade. But with skaar, at least on the new setup here, here, let's do a wall. Let's do this wall over here. And I'm going to try to do it the way I would try to do the newer skaar here, where I usually will often start out with some of that, but I don't just use that texture. I also use some of this texture, and often sometimes some of the colors here. I think it was something like that. Been a while. Well, I haven't been that long, but yeah. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't using much of that metal texture. I was using a lot of this, but I would still replace some of it with that. But then I had to alt color because it needed to be brighter. Yeah, that's why there's these two shades. One is an offset for your smooth metal, so it matches this metal, and that's what it was. Otherwise, one's brighter than the other, basically. Um, something here. I use this an awful lot on these thin edges. It's easy, it fits. But yeah, there's quite a few other textures that can look good there too. Okay, let's say the floor color was, I think this kind of, it's like a gray with a little bit of like very light brown in it. That's really the biggest difference there. It'd be really cool to have a front trim row across there too, and you know, we can do that. We can do that with the little flat blocks. Let's try to mess with that a little bit. Or should I have a fence here? Well, I can't do the fences at the right angles. Yeah, we need 22.5 degree like fence pieces too. Well, I say fence, railings is what I mean. Oops. Model there. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. We want to reverse that there. And go to these. Okay, so now we could paint that differently. It's supposed to look dilapidated in the end, or like basic skaar. So, but I don't know, some lights could kind of work here. I could go with like a little bit of that. It's a texture you can use on these thin blocks edges. Oh, that I do like how this looks. Using this texture, if certain thin block edges, we'll put that in the middle, and some other blocks, but not all of them do. But when they do, I kind of like that formation there. But it probably won't work here. No, you see, it's different when you go from that edge to this edge, even with the same texture. So let's put in a little more lights there, and I guess we'll just kind of bring that to the center. We can try to do something here again. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna just surface spray that a second. I'm gonna swap a bunch of this out. There's something else I did too. I'm forgetting a step on the skaar builds. There's like another thing that's done with the textures and the colors, I think. Or maybe, yeah, maybe it's like getting some of this in there in the mix too. And some of these you can put some vents or something like that, and you can make some funky looking ones like that. I don't know what that is, but yeah, whatever. I'm having color problems here. Oh, it's been a bit. It's been a bit. How did I do the skaar textures? Every one of these shades in here has a purpose. That's why they're there. But, well, some of these are just oddballs. But, yeah, a lot of these browns and grays and stuff, they're meant to work in a certain way. It's just been a bit since I did this. Got some tinning issues here. Maybe I should just use this brownish tone. I do have a lighter and darker, and I think these are offsets for that very purpose. So if I had that, and then I wanted smooth metal, and I would go to, or actually, yeah, let's reverse that. This would be that tone, and this would, that would match. I think that's it. I think that's how it was supposed to be. But the problem is, I don't like all the liney things, and even in this this texture setup over here. So unless I'm lucky enough to get that square, none of these usually work. But yeah, okay, we'll put vents here, and I am gonna get rid of that crap there. Doesn't look very good. And then also, it was actually, yeah, and sometimes it's this, sometimes it's smooth metal, and sometimes it's the other texture, and you try to get them all to work together, and then sometimes you do color stripes on top of that. It just takes a while to warm up into one of these, though. This is the hardest thing with Empyrion, though. When you get to these big wedged angles and corners and stuff like that, there's not a lot of things you can do with the textures to make them look very good. I mean, obviously you can blank them out and have it all smooth. This is pretty easy to do, but kind of boring. I'll get rid of that and that too. I was just trying to find ways to add detail to these kinds of things. There's not much you have that you can really do except mess with color and some textures sometimes. You know, I'm wondering if I should try to put in like a little bit of a stripe thing there and maybe follow that on through from different levels. You can use all the materials for all the textures. Yeah, out of POI, definitely. Yeah, that is a cool thing too. Like some of these blocks, like if I wanted to go and say I don't like the texture that's there, get one of these. I could like go to concrete or wood. Well, I mean, Xeno has unique textures too. Don't like most of them, but it does have unique textures. They can look good in the right place. But like, so now these are concrete blocks. So now when I look at the concrete painting palette, I've got a whole different slew of textures. Some of them are duplicates from the metal textures, but not all of them. And it's just kind of random. It's like you don't exactly know what you get. You just get different stuff. And some of these other textures too, if I remember using like skaar, you know what? Here, I want to refresh a little bit on that skaar POI. Let me get over to bases. This one I think was doing a lot of that stuff. All right, I just want to see how I did texture this one. Make sure I'm... Okay, so I actually was a little brighter. I think I was using this tone. Or was it this tone? Oops. Undo that. Nice. Undo that. And the texture. Yeah, okay, so that is the highlight color here. I wasn't doing that right. And then the darker tone is that shade. What red was I using here? That one. Okay. That helps a little bit. Just trying to get kind of used to how this, like this one was a fun one to build. I had a good time building this. It took a while to build this POI, and it looks so neat on a certain planet type. It had a certain kind of ground texture that was kind of reflective of light. And when it was raining and it was darkish out, and it would these all these texture lights and things would kind of reflect off from the ground, and it looks. I had a couple screenshots I took in the past, and it was like, I thought it looked really cool. It was like, and then I was like, well, is there any way to get this POI on a planet that has that particular kind of reflective texture on it? And I don't think there was. And yeah, and then it looks like crap with normal ground under it, honestly. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, this one was kind of like more of a commercial like building too. It was supposed to be a power plant of all things, but it was like taken over by the skaar, and then was never finished. Like this thing was under construction, and they took it over, and then turned it into like a, I don't know, an outpost space with a bunch of guns, and shops moved in. Basically, is the story of that. That's why this one I was hoping would kind of fit with that theme, although it's kind of a strange things to do here, but yeah. All right, well, let's get some more textures on here, and then I'll do this for about another a few more minutes. And please, if you got some more questions on POIs, if you're watching this, let me know what those questions are. I mean, I haven't really focused too much on the POI part of this. A lot of it's just your normal building. It's just the base mechanics of POIs on how to set them up and how to make them work is one thing. And next video I do on this, I want to hopefully I'll have my scenario in order and be able to move, like, say this into a scenario so I can test the POI. There's so much playing around though, especially when you're dealing with different materials too, and they all have different texture surfaces. Or yeah, definitely take a while doing this. Let's get some more, and I don't have to necessarily use that as floor either. I really overuse some textures a lot, but it usually happens because I don't like anything else. Quite frankly. Like, yeah, that doesn't look right. Hold on, let's go to concrete. Let's say I put in a concrete block here. And let's try to go to some other floor tiling. That's a little too... These textures, some of these textures can look really nice in the right places. I think over in this one, there's a little shop off to the side. Where is that? Yeah, out over here. If you go in this building, it was, or maybe not this one. Yeah, in here, yeah. See, like, had fun. I used this other weird texture, which is, I don't know, one of these. What texture is that? Oh, it's the one I got right here. Yeah. So that was that texture. That can look kind of neat in the right place too. Now, since I'm not in RE2, there's access to some other parts and blocks in those concrete formations that we've seen in a recent video of that base that we looked at on the last look at the workshop video. Was using some of that. I don't have that available right now for this build because I'm in vanilla. And that's another thing to figure out too. Could also put in some weird texture like things. I did do that with some skaar too for some certain stuff. I can already tell though, this project, starting it out right now, this is probably a good 40-50 hour build. It's going to take a long time to do. And that's right, yeah, I don't want to like try to stream the whole thing of it. It's just too much. It takes too long. And I tend to build slower when I'm trying to narrate and stuff too. Anyway, well, you get the idea. And basically, once I get this part done, maybe I'll just like texture this whole corner. Then I will copy it. I will rotate it, slap it over there, do something different on the other side. Try to make something like a centerpiece for the arena. Maybe, you know, if we can have some combat in here too, that would be cool. But it would be open to the outside because I'm not going to have a roof on this. It's just going to be kind of opened up. One of the sides somewhere, or maybe on a couple different sides, there'll be probably like a taller structure building or something like that. And one other thing I would like to do with this POI too is not. I want this to be more of like the abandoned kind of POI. In other words, I don't want it to have big old nasty base guns all over the place. I'll use a few sentry guns, like most of the abandoned POIs do. But I don't want to put like some crazy alien plasma guns that one hits you and you're dead. I'd rather have this. This is definitely all about a, jump out on foot kind of romp through the POI. Anyway, it's a start, kind of a little part of this. Again, I don't want the top side to be too big either, because it's going to be probably mostly underground. All right, well, anyway, here, I'm going to get out of this mode here a second, and I'm going to go into RE2 a second. Show you an update on the Persis carrier. So, I think I got that here. Yeah, I made this one special just for POIs over here, but it's vanilla. No overseer. No overseer. Oh, well, I can spot it. I got an overseer. I never did turn that into a POI, but I thought someone else did. Or a space enemy ship, OPV probably. Alright, let's spawn in the latest version, or versions. Here, I'll take this back a little bit too. So, where is it? Oh, let's go to LCs. Okay, so I'll put it in version 3. This is exactly where I ended off in the my first stream video, where I was really struggling with the farm. Jumping all over the place. I gotta slow down a little bit. It's different when I just build on the side. I'm not worried about time or anything like that. All right, so where I was on the last video with this ship is this. This is exactly where I was at. So I didn't do any more work to it. I was experimenting with different ceiling designs and some green stuff and some other stuff, and yeah, that's how it ended up. So what I did on this version is I finished the farm, and here I'm gonna try to adjust the lights a little bit too, get a little bit darker in here. Anyway, to start with, I ended up modifying this, and I pushed it out one more block row here because I actually needed the room for the fridge and food processor setup here. And then I didn't really replace very many blocks here at all. I just spent like an hour and a half texturing and tweaking. I did replace a lot of the walk paths that were going through here. Since they already had a solid floor below there anyway, I decided to try to make them look like they're elevated a little bit. And I copied some of the block formations from one area to like another area, like this roundy bit over here was duplicated from that side. And I also did this wall, added a doorway over there. So, and then added all the grow light switches. So you can turn on your grow lights. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the farm. I didn't do a whole heck of a lot more. I got a lot more work to do this ship yet, but at least the farm's kind of there. The hangar's mostly there. Notably speaking, I want to dress up this ceiling in this section of the ship a lot more. So that's on the to-do list. This part was done up over here already. This part, it's kind of there, but I think it needs work. Needs some work in the production area. And then beyond that, there is this little bay over here I got to do. I'm going to have quite a lot of room, I think. I got to figure out what I'm doing with that big long-range radar array. That's still probably going to go somewhere in this general area. But I actually got quite a bit of room up in the front of the ship for a lounge. Maybe some crew rooms over here. I think beyond this set of medium turbines and the CPU core room, it's going to have to go somewhere in this general area. Yeah, that would be most of the interior of the ship. Oh, thanks, Matt. And let's see. And oh, I would have to do up the very small bridge area too. And there's maybe like a room or two kind of below the bridge. I don't know what to honestly put there. Since the bridge is kind of elevated to here. I guess there's just this one room down here, so just kind of a pathing. Could have some, I don't know, chill out place. Maybe the captain's quarters, really close to the bridge. Oh, and now it's now we got toxic stuff outside. Hold on a second. Let me fix that. All right. So I see some overseer talk. Yeah, I haven't looked at that in a long time. I'm gonna spawn that a second. That was the first big ship. This is the second Creel ship I made. The first one was the Ghast, which was the SV. But when I was actually building the Ghast, before I released it, I already had this one under construction. This is a big one. It didn't play very nice with size class and things like that. But yeah, this was a fun one. I really went off the deep end here with, well, in places, trying to make it pretty unique looking. And I liked the idea that I had an enormous amount of space in the hangar. I'm talking like ceiling height space. So much so that I put in these ramps over here. Oh, it's a reference creel. Yeah, I kind of use this as a reference creel too. I really do. It's creel was what I was trying to accomplish with creel, and again, the lighting's not right anymore because it looked so much different when I was building it with the lights. And there was another thing too that was adding effects, like more pronounced. There's a little bit, you can kind of see, you get a little bit of glow around texture lights. Well, it used to be a lot more glowy around texture lights than what it is now. So they would kind of pop out in a different way too. And that was like part of it. But yeah, a lot of it too was just trying to do a lot of things when I could. It's hard to do that quite a bit, but to try to go with like a lot of curvy stuff and big round bits and stuff like that. And then with lighting, I was experimenting on this build with lighting. It's normally using the typical light color that I use in almost every build. It's just getting kind of awfully boring here. What am I doing? Let's go to the right place. Which is, I normally use this shade most of the time for interior lighting, unless it's like engineering red or something like that. But with the creel, when I started this out, I was trying to get some more colors in the mix. And one of the colors was also this one. I normally never use the dark blue color because it's kind of like, if you'll take a look at this tone, it's kind of a blue tint with a little bit of warmth to it. Like if you were taking a little bit of blue and a little bit of red and kind of putting it in the same light. But the dark blue and this one here, I almost never use for any light colors. And it's something I wanted for, since this game came out and they added a custom color palette, is for, rather than using this little whatever preset color thing, that it would just show you your own custom color palette and you could pick any colors from there to use for your light colors. I think that would be a huge gain. You could do a lot better job with lighting if you had access to any colors you wanted for your lights, basically. But yeah, this one was definitely a fun one. It's like, you know, it depends. You know, it's not super practical, especially in like today's game. I would hate to even look at the CPU on this, being an RE2. Yeah, it's up there. That'd be God, I don't even know if I can hit this with Core 17. Yeah, Core 9 was like 840, I think, CPU now, so this is way over that. But yeah, this was a vanilla build, and it was operating off 10 million CPU. And by the looks of this, I don't think the game had projector LCDs at this point in time. I think we just had the old school LCDs. And at the time, even though it might have worked, all those cool LCD coating that we put in, you know, for your size and your color. And maybe it would have worked, but I don't think anybody at the time knew it. So the LCDs just didn't have tricks, you know, like we're doing now. So that's another thing. Yeah, and the whole idea with the farm, and again, this is got common creel. What I like to do with creel when I can is like you get in this like little curve, and you have like a little bit of an exposed part of another block, and then you use that as a texture light. So that's kind of what I was trying to do here as well. So you get some weird shaped lights and stuff like that. That's another creel thing. Although this room here is pretty square. I think I went a little crazier upstairs. Yeah, this overlooks the big old bridge, and they had the bridge on this one was kind of based around the bridge I had on the Gigacore, which was that sloped up glass look where you kind of like overlook everything. Which I really like this feel in a ship, yeah, because especially when you can see down, I think that's usually more important than seeing upward. So. Yeah, I always like that. You can kind of, when you're flying over a planet, you can see the ground pretty good and all that. But let's see, upstairs here, I was doing things too. Oh yeah, this was a weird one set up here. This is where I had this big tall space, but I didn't want to have 2 floors. So I ended up just making the whole ceiling curvy, and then had like walls that didn't go up to the ceiling kind of thing in places, and just kind of leave it open. Yeah, and again, a lot of curviness, a lot of roundness going around areas. I remember what I had back here. Oh yeah, this was the medical bay. What did I have over here? Oh yeah, the secure bridge. They had one of those in here too. Yep, and the main CPU core, and I think there was a lot of I think I even had like some lag shot in the area around here. Yeah, like a row of lag shot blocks in here, which are probably out of combat steel. And switches. I used to, on all my earlier builds, I did switches for everything. I wasn't using the P menu for much, if anything. And yeah, I'd have manually turn on and off switches for most everything. Later on, playing the game more, I realized that, well, if you got to turn on and off a switch, the switch is somewhere, and it's usually more work than going to the P menu and doing something. So then I kind of started using the P menu a whole lot more and a lot less of these kinds of things. But I miss them. I like my switches. They're fun. Back over here, in this, I don't even know what I was thinking in this room, but I was just kind of trying to come up with something. The idea behind this crazy Xeno block, I don't know what it is, was supposed to be a hive mind connection to the mother creel, which I never actually built. So this was supposed to be how they could communicate from creel across the galaxy, like instantaneously, like going through the quantum whatever. And this was a communication device over here, and a training thing for creel that were bugs that didn't technically sit in seats, but you know. And then there's plants out here, so they could learn their plants. Mother creel, yeah. Well, okay. So I mean, later on, obviously, I think I already had that spawned in already. But let me respawn it. Oh, we got to go back to CV. No, we're on CV. Where is it? Oh, base. Mother creel. It's not called mother creel. Here, we had the Kraken. The Kraken, I had a lot of fun with too, and I actually kind of like to use the Kraken better than the Overseer for like a reference point. Let me get this out. There's a few reasons for that. There's a couple things that I did on it that I thought I really liked, and they were easy to do. But it's very lighting dependent again. Let me see if I can ever get the bottom of these things in the right light. I don't think so. No, not anymore. Anyway, it had a certain look here, and with the right light, you'd see all these indentations and on the bottom here with the texture lights, and it looked really cool. But you had to, it was very lighting dependent to make that look cool. And this thing, favorite part about this whole build here actually was, believe it or not, a couple hallways, just random hallways. Let me try to find an example. Yeah, maybe it was down here again with the right lighting. And what I had fun with this one and why I liked it is the really strange shape of the hallway. It's not in formation. It's doing curves. It's got random texture lights and weird small shapes and everything like that. But I kind of liked that look for Creel. It's just, again, it's trying to look organic and alien and that kind of thing. Oh, thanks, Crazy. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun doing that. And then I think this hallway here had animated lights, which, again, with the right lighting, it looks cool. But, and that's where I kind of lost a lot of luster with Creel is I don't like the lighting, how it works anymore. And the effects and looks I was trying to go for, I just can't accomplish anymore. And it bugs me. So now I just see a big purple thing, and it was supposed to look like alien and scary, and now it just looks purple. And it's one of them things. Oh yeah, Star Wars laser. Yeah, I see someone mentioned the my other one of my other most favorite builds is the skaar. Oh God, oh yeah, the Megalodon. Why don't I see it? Oh, because I'm looking at bases. Maybe. The skaar Megalodon, I think this was, besides the Empyrion Leviathan, this one was the longest build time I had in any creation, I think. Because not that this was near as big as the Leviathan. It was dense, and it's still pretty big. But it was just dense with interior space. So much interior space in this thing. And it took a long time to do all the interior. For reference on skaar, and this is probably what I should have used, this would be my reference build, because it does the newer set of texturing on the skaar. It's not just like the old skaar was pretty much just that rusty metal, but this one, it's using some of the rusty metal, but it's integrating in some other base textures into the mix and some more offset colors, and that's the main difference. So yeah, this one's insane with interior space. Now the hangar is pretty big. Obviously, it's way bigger than that Persis that I'm working on now. And believe it or not, building the Persis and all the human creations lately, I gotta admit, I've been bored with the interior look, and how they all go together with the human. It just seems kind of plain. I've done it like 50 times already, and it's not new and exciting. And like the skaar, because it's using more textures and a little bit more on the color and things like that, I actually find it to be more detailed than the human creations at this point. Not when skaar started out though, but up after it's been updated a little bit. But yeah, just want to here, let's get lost in this ship a second. Show you some of the fun I had with this one, and some of this could translate to a POI too. So I'm just going to randomly walk somewhere. I'll get lost. I get lost in this ship. It is a ship to get lost in, that is for sure. But there's all kinds of weird things all over the place in it that lead to other weird places. And it's kind of like this trapdoor of vents and things. Like I'm walking through here. This is like a thruster access room. But now now I came in through there, and then I can, with the jetpack on, jump up over here. Oh no, I'm missing 2 textures there. I didn't realize it. Maybe I gotta get up to an upper deck. I want to get to the main area of where it gets really funky. This deck. See, this is what I mean by dense interior too. First, One thing I was trying to do with this ship is to have the proportions better. It was something I realized with a lot of my older ships, great big old tall ceilings all over the place and things. And this one I was trying to keep things tighter and dense. I guess you could say. Here I'm trying to. Oh, yeah. Here's one of the sneaky areas in this ship. This is another aspect you can use in POIs. Like you can crouch and you can walk under a half block here. So this actually goes out to here, which if we follow this, it's like now we're actually kind of walking through the floor blocks. Some of those floor blocks are actually these roundy sphere pieces, or well, not sphere, but you know what I mean. I've seen them used for hallways and other ships. And then this kind of goes out and about. Now I think we're missing parts in here. Oh, yeah, we're missing parts here. Wow, what happened? Oh, that's right. This was that was full of solar panels, and they don't exist in RE2. That's right. If we keep on following this, yeah, then it got up into these other areas, and this is like all like not in your main ship. This is all away from the hallways, like it was supposed to be. Like I don't know, just stowaways and everything, just kind of live in this thing all over the place in it. And it drops you out in different places and different rooms, and then it keeps on roaming around. Sometimes you can see into some of the rooms. But yeah, this was hugely fun to do. I really enjoyed like building this kind of thing with like the whole level design thing. Terribly bad for size class though. I mean, to be honest, it just this thing got really heavy on size class. And yeah, the whole ship though, I mean, it's got so many areas. You can see how big these corridors are, and multiple levels and floors. And this was my arena. I had inspired a little bit from some of the old like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat games kind of thing. But yeah, even this I even try to plan out. It's like it has a little jail over here. So you get your prisoners, or and then you would take them, and you drag them across into here, and put them in this cage, and then you release the door, and then they go fight down into the arena, and then the skaar, chieftain or whatever would be sitting up there, like watching the event. And just fun stuff like that. And then I had fun over here. Speaking of Crazy Z, that's in here, I had a lot of fun. I was making these shops. And Crazy Z had, I looked at a lot of Crazy Z builds. I kind of understood some of his elegant builds that he was building with the marble and the fancy wood grain and all that stuff. So, but this is Skaar. Skaar is like Mad Max, right? So I tried to mess with Crazy Z here, and we ended up with Psycho V's instead of Crazy Z. Premium acquired loot materials showroom. I had so much fun building this. You have no idea. What a crazed thing to do. But yeah, just trying to incorporate some aspects of some of the kind of stuff you would see at a Crazy Z build, at least in that time frame. And then just put in all this stupid crap and I made it exceptionally dirty. There's like vomit all over the floor and stuff. It was just fun. And then I had fun with all the signs, like Catch the Wave. I purposely try to make a weird wavy pattern with stuff going across the ceiling, even painted it that way. And you get over here, you got this cheesy carpet, grub all over the place, and I'm selling everything. A snazzy shroom for $79.99, and you got, just gotta love this kind of stuff. It makes building fun, when you can really go off the deep end. And that's why these bigger builds can be a lot of fun. They're, of course, a lot of work. Yeah. Vomit. Yeah. Well, I guess like this green over here and some of that. I don't know. I guess it's not vomit. It's just grub or something. But it can look like vomit. What happened to the huge POI collab? You're building restaurants. Building your own restaurants. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. The author that started that, I don't think completed it. So yeah, I did actually have a shop made for that creation, and I said I wasn't ever going to show that creation because it wasn't mine and wasn't done. But yeah, a bunch of people made shops for it, but I don't think the creation ever got complete. So there was that. Like over here, I had fun too. Yeah, you got the little poles, and yeah, you got to have a bar. And where else? I did a lot of the shop stuff with this build, and I'll probably try to do some of that into the arena too. You know, the flying bullets arms dealer, just put a cap in it. So yeah, some of these subs are pretty lame, like that one. Nukem's nasty. I had fun with the LCD on this one. I was trying to make it look like the drink was coming from this like irradiated puddle, and it was some kind of beverage that you drank called based on radiation. I don't know what it was. And then it had a back hallway over here, so you could get to the back of the shops by taking this internal corridor. And then it went over. This was one of my more favorite ones too. The BAs or bad attitudes, fresh biters and bits. No petting. This was supposed to be like piranhas and crap swimming in here. You could buy fresh fish. So, I mean, yeah, you could go off on a tangent, you know, when you're doing these this stuff. I haven't seen Script around in quite a while. Come to think of it, I can't recall seeing any recent builds from him on the workshop. So I don't know if he's around yet or not. I really don't. Yeah, this one even had a... Oh yeah, the funnest part. Well, there's a lot of fun parts to this build. You can probably see why it took so long. I had fun over here too. So this is the main bridge of the ship. And then off to the side room, you directly go into the captain's quarters, which was generally fancier than the rest of the ship. I had some like tile floor and a little bit of wallpaper on the floor and stuff. But it had this separate corridor only off from this room that goes down into the captain's like meeting place and the captain's landing pad. And then it had the captain's entertainment center room. So, I mean, why not, right? You know, now you got your home theater. And of course, you know, it was Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Drones. And I tried to make the lettering look like it was scrolling like a Star Wars movie. And this was supposed to be a Death Star. Yeah, so gonna have a lot. And again, this is just all crappy. And, you know, again, Mad Max like characters running this thing, so they're partying and drinking and stabbing each other, and you know, it's just that whole realm of craziness is what Skaar is supposed to be about. So yeah, that's. But anyway, this one, I mean, you could spend a lot longer exploring the ship. There's so many different rooms and corridors, and there's secret places, and there's all kinds of crap in it. But because of all that, it ended up being size class 28. So, yeah. And this was another one, too. This started out, when I first started building it, it was supposed to be more of a traditional aircraft carrier look, kind of like what I'm doing now with the Persis CV4. But then I had this, I was looking at older Skaar build. One I did like because it was fun. Let me get that out. All right, we'll just go to that. Skaar crawler. Oh, where's the crawler? There it is. And this one was, now I've seen a lot of authors do really cool looking like tank treads and stuff now. This was my early attempted version at tank treads, but I thought this was kind of neat. I was trying to go for more of a Star Warsy look on this thing. With the right lighting, it looked better. But yeah, where the whole thing was like it would drive around on tracks like you'd see. God, what's that called in Star Wars? The little dudes drive that around. Oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. But yeah, it's yeah, just a good time. And that's why Skaar to me is a lot more fun than humans. And as of late too, like all the builds, because the requirements and the specifications for CPU and everything are so tight. You know, for your gameplay, for your good working gameplay things, that is, that it's like everything just kept on getting smaller. and smaller and smaller, and like, you know, like this is like a Core 7 and 9 tank that I used in a recent playthrough. You can see the size of it. It's not super dinky, but it has no interior. Well, I thought it had a upgrade slot place, but maybe it doesn't. I forget. And not that many guns. And it's like back when I first started playing Empyrion and really getting into it. Yeah, let me get to HV. There it is. You could build stuff like this, and it was totally cool. You know, everything was cool about this. You know, great big old tank, all kinds of guns, bazillion thrusters, interior room, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun doing that. Yeah. The Jawas, you got it there. Yeah, Sandcrawler as well. Yep, Jawas in Star Wars and whatever that thing they were driving around in. What Sandcrawler? Yeah, that's it. So, and there was times too. I mean, there was a there's a someone that made videos on Empyrion way back in the day called Mr. Spicy, and he had a contest to build. I don't know. I forget what the specs for the contest were. Basically, what Excalibur's doing now. And I ended up building this, which is my largest HV ever. And look at this cheese grater set up here. The Gigantus. I forget what the MFB stood for. Like, I don't know. But yeah, look at the interior space on this HV. It even had a second floor on it. Oh, and I don't think I learned how, at this point in time, how to fix my glass either. My goodness. You can tell this is some old stuff there. I didn't, believe it or not, I didn't know what I just did back when I built this. I didn't know you could do that. Just so you had to deal with ill-painted glass. But yeah, I do miss it. I mean, and even like Excalibur and other man, I don't have it right now. I'd spawn in something from Crazy Z. Going to make an MK2 of it? I don't know. But yeah, God, what was that? The something Princess that Crazy Z made. Gigantic SV. And in fact, not just one, but several gigantic SVs that he made, like with security departments inside them and special chambers and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that was some fun stuff back then, and I miss that. But it just feels like now everything's so technical and tiny, and if you're wasting trying to do like I don't know, RP stuff, you're wasting resources, and that's true. I mean, for gameplay, you know, you don't need lounges and entertainment centers and stuff like that, and it just costs more. But yeah, definitely some fun stuff there. A couple other things, you know, since I'm just doing a random tour all of a sudden, show you some things that I haven't completed yet as well. There's a lot, actually. Where is my super building? There's this building thing I was working on, but I forget the name of it now. Platform CV, no, not that. It should have been on the top. Let me look at bases. I better not have deleted it. Yeah, I just recently looked at this one. I was in last workshop video that had some cool stuff going on in there. Oh no, I can't find it. Oh, what did I even call it? Oh no. Sky Prop. Oh, that's right at the top. Arc. It's calling it Arc. Yeah, this thing. And this thing, I started trying to texture it, and I just wasn't coming up with anything I really liked. I was trying to do some decorative thing over there, but this one was a lot of fun to build too. I mean, I'd love to. I mean, this could make a POI, but it would just be probably a poor performing running POI because it's big and it's all on the on all above ground. But yeah, this one was kind of fun. Again, the light here. Maybe I can adjust the light to look at it. Try to get those shadows on here. But this one, it's weird because if you look at it from top down, the whole building and structure is kind of built at a 45-degree angle, and that creates some unusual looking blockwork, especially if you don't realize you're looking at it at a 45-degree angle. Like this scene here, if you were looking at this straight on and then you're trying to figure out like what's going on with the blocks here, it'd be really confusing. But yeah, stuff like this, 45-degree angle builds, you can do a lot of neat things with that. This one was definitely fun. I wanted to build like a new building. I do like to build like buildings and architecture as well. That's why I built a few. Unfortunately, there's usually no practical purpose for them in Empyrion, but they are still kind of fun to build. But again, like everything else, a whole lot of work. Sorry, not stream. Oh wait, years ago, abandoned. Oh yeah, abandoned builds. Yeah, you're right. I did. I think I have some other ones too. This was one of the newer abandoned ones, and I didn't really abandon this because I would like to finish this someday, but it's just an exterior of a building, and the interior is big, super big, and you know you can fill a lot of this in. And get, one other thing too, if you're a builder and you didn't know this, if you're building a really large, crazy structure like this, and you're super worried about the size class, and it can certainly get very big on a building like this. If you fill it all in with or like a lot of it in with just straight up full blocks, it fill like everything in except for the rooms that you want cut out in it. It will lower the size class quite a bit. It'll add to the material cost, of course, because you're adding more blocks, but it will lower the size class of it. So keep that in mind too. If you got a ship and you're building a ship and you've got like behind the walls or in certain places like open area, open blocks, and there's nothing going on there. If you were to fill those in, you're gonna help your size class out. So it depends on if you're playing on servers. Some servers restrict the size class to certain levels, sometimes 10, sometimes 20, but that is something too. Always fill in open, unused areas in your builds, I would say, with full blocks only. And then you can help your size class out a little bit there too, which is definitely nice. And this one here too, I was trying to fake out the glass, like there's some real glass in here. Now, when you add glass to a build, it's not good for performance. It looks good, but it is typically not good for performance, especially structures with a ton of glass on them. And it's also really bad for size class. However, there are little cheaty tricks, especially if you're just doing an outside area of a building, and that is just by sometimes painting where you want windows with something that's a little bit glossy, like in this case, like marble. Back here, let me bring up another older building. This is fine. Let's go ahead. I haven't looked at this stuff myself in so long now. Where were these? I had city building 1, 2, and 3. What was one? One was this one. This was in Anvil City. On the server, it was kind of redone because it had to be with texturing and the interior space and stuff like that. But in this one here, same idea is going on. All the glass is fake, and I did that purely for performance reasons. It's not, and what I tried to do to make the glass look a little bit better. And again, if I can get it in the sunlight, it'll look a little better maybe. But yeah, it's just like it's using this marble texture with with like different tones of like this kind of bluish darkest glass. And so I do that, so I was trying to make it look like different windows from a distance. And keep in mind that's only it only looks sort of alright from a distance. Close up is going to look stupid, but yeah, 5 or 7, not more. Yeah. But yeah, this was huge fun to build too. Didn't really take that long, comparatively speaking. I bet you this was closer to about a 10-15 hour build. But then again, it's only hull. Didn't my version at least did not have any interior at all. In fact, I even had to build up big old things so it'd be structurally sound on the center. And this is before I knew the that you could fill it in and lower the size class down. Um, didn't know that at that time. That wasn't the only city building I made though. Let's see, this one was This one I was trying to go for a taller skyscraper. This one was very fast to build. Quite frankly, because I built up like this lower section, and then I built like one of these, and then I copied and pasted it, going up the top, and then did something different at the top of the skyscraper like thing. My whole thing, and what I built these for in the first place, is with a lot of creations. It's fun if you've seen some of my builds in the past. A lot of times I'll have other creations in with like a new one. Like I put out the Skaar Megalodon to the workshop. You'll see a lot of other Skaar creations in the pictures that I take of it. I do that just for, I don't know, effect. I'm trying to make sci-fi art. You know, like if you're looking at some art cards out there or something like that, make like cool scenes, pictures with all these different props and stuff around it, trying to give it some life. So I still do that sometimes, not on every build. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood. It takes longer to take your screenshots if you're doing all that. But yeah, that's what these buildings were for, is so at will I could create some kind of cityscape scene and display creations in it. And that's why I was kind of building these buildings. Then this was I think this one actually made it to Anvil City, and was kind of redone as well. But this one I never completed it. It was sort of got to this level, and I stopped working on it. Basically, I was to the point where I had to texture the whole thing, and it's slow and monotonous, and yeah, one of those kind of things. And then I was like, well, I don't even know what to do with it once I get it done. But there you are. That's kind of my passion projects. I got to have some of those. So yeah, a lot of this kind of stuff over time was built too, and these are a lot of fun to build. I just wish they had some practical use in the game, and that's the problem. They don't have practical use in the game, unless it's from a server, a specialized city. That's a pretty cool use of them. There's another one too that was built for that city, specifically this time, and there was a challenge to build stuff for it, and I ended up with this thing, which is a nightclub or club anvil. So kind of a weird looking design. Weird LCD entryway over here. This one was never on the workshop either. All these buildings I'm showing you now were never on the workshop. Yeah, this was like a kind of a weird open architecture, modern sort of looking club. And then upstairs you had your bar area and food down here, and then upstairs was I think upstairs another level yet was a dance floor. Way somewhere up here. Yeah, dance floor. The very weird looking floor, and I think there's a bunch of lights doing things. And then you can kind of look out the front window of it, and yeah, it'd be all cool and fancy. Oh yeah, you never build a tower building. If you like buildings, I'm kind of a sucker for building. Way back in the day, a long time ago, after I got out of high school, I took a year of classes on AutoCAD, and it was like version 10 and 11 back in the day, and the class was more or less designed for tool and die purposes in AutoCAD. However, I branched off and went into the architecture side of things. But unfortunately, the teacher, well, he was correct, but he was like, there's hardly any jobs for CAD and architecture, so you'd be much better off doing tool and die. But I still mess with that. So I was like learning stuff about architecture because I still did it. I never took advantage of that in my life, but I still did it. it's pretty interesting stuff. And that's, like how your floor space and material costs and beams and, just a lot of different little principles of, building like big commercial structures and things like that. I was trying to take that in. Granted, it never a pro or anything at it, but definitely fun. Let's see, style building. The feet are hard to. Oh, the feet, yes, yes, the feet. Hey, if you, a lot of you are really awesome builders. All right, I've been looking at the workshop. There was a point in time, when I would come out with my old stuff, Merc, whatever, and this, and I thought it looked pretty good, comparatively speaking to a lot of the other builds that were out at the time. And as of the last couple of years, man, there are some authors that are kicking butt so hardcore that I'm scared. I'm scared. I release something new and I'm like, man, it's subpar. I know that other author's doing a better job than I am. Spending more time with the LCDs, more time with the detailing and the tweaking, and all that stuff. And it's just, yeah, I think most people that are around here, unless you're really new to the game, are all pretty darn experienced builders now. But one of the hardest challenges I had ever with a builder is building feet. Building feet. It looks like utter crap now. But here, let's get back to there. Manicore EX1. First ship. Well, it's not the first ship I put to the workshop. It's the first ship that I built after I learned the wedge angles of all things, really, or kind of got better with the wedge angles. And I built this one when I was I built it in survival. This is back Alpha 6, I think, back when I was like actually playing the game a lot, and I kind of enjoyed it then. And I had this idea of this ship that was like had these big tall legs and blah blah blah. And it started out where I was like okay with this, but then when I was like partially building the ship, I realized that I wanted a hangar, and to create room for the hangar, I had to like make it like bring it out over here, and now it just looks like this deranged fat thing. So when I got done with this one, but I struggled with those legs in the front. Man, that was a nightmare. I also didn't know about symmetry. I didn't know there's an N key when I built this originally. So I was like, I just remember back then I would figure out like a few blocks here, and then I'd like go to the other side and place the same blocks, and I'd go back and try to mimic what I did on the other side. And oh my god, this thing took like $100 to build. It's just, especially being done in creative. I'm sorry, not creative, survival. Absolutely ridiculous. Then right after that one, I did the Cerberus. Almost directly, like a week later. Here, where are you? Do I even have it? I have the original. Yeah, Cerberus PSV. This came out shortly after the Manicore. In fact, it had Manicore pictures in it. So this one, I was kind of going with the same general idea as what I had for this ship, but I stretched it out. I made it a little bit bigger. I lowered it down, tried to make it a little sleeker looking, and then I ended up with this. And again, this is just back in the vanilla day, all in one kind of. This is your base. This is your ship. This is everything. It's your combat vehicle. It's all things. And I always like these big old landing pads on a lot of the ships. I don't like them so much for looks, but it's one of the most practical things you can do for no cost, no build costs, is to have a landing pad on the roof of your ship. I mean, it's cheap, it's really good with size class, and it's practical. So that's kind of why I have a lot of landing pads on ships. It's not very good for looks necessarily, though. And survival, yeah, the key. Yeah, fat crawler zombie monster. I first started building with shaping. Horrible time with texturing. Yeah, texturing's. I still. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Back to the Manicore. And there's a particular room in the Manicore, if I remember. And this, again, this is really early on. It was this room, this lounge area here in the Manicore. I spent probably 4 hours fiddling with the textures in this room. And it doesn't even look to me look all that wonderful or anything. And I didn't do the jiggy line thing back then either. But I just kept messing with it. My whole goal was, can I get this to look better? You know, I was trying everything I could figure out how to make one room look better. And I ended up with this, and I look at it now and I'm like, this doesn't look like anything. But back when I first built it, it felt like, wow, you know, I learned things, and I learned to take my time more with textures and experiment with a lot of different textures and how they line up. But this was back in the day too, before there was custom color palettes. So whatever you're doing, you're stuck with the default color palette, which is really hard to do much of anything with because it's generally way too saturated and bright to look realistic, unless you're going for that look. So yeah, this early builds here. But before that, the very first ship I built was, what do I call that? Oh, the Nebula. Oh wow, I still have it. Nebula MK3. Yeah. This one, I didn't know the wedge blocks yet. There's a couple wedge blocks in here. I mean, I think, yeah, there's a couple. But I didn't know the 22.5 degree wedge block angles or anything. Oh, this doesn't even fly, does it? Hey! So, yeah. Out of curiosity, custom color palette. Oh, when did the custom color palette came out? Oh, man. Somewhere around Alpha 9, 10, I'm guessing. And that it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread to me. I mean, it was like, oh my God, you added a custom color palette. That's going to change everything. And it did. Honestly, it did. It did change everything. But yeah, I think around Alpha 9 or 10, somewhere in that area. Yeah, 2018, that sounds about right. So anything built before then was default color palette, and you couldn't do anything about it. But after the color palette came into play, you could just, it was so much better. And this one here too, you can see some, even this was like the first CV I ever made. Well, the first one I finished that I ever made. And you can kind of see the general layout too on how this was designed. It's not that different from a lot of the newer builds, especially like starter CVs I did. Except for the biggest difference here was I had the production area not in the hangar. So the hangar was separate. Production was in front of the hangar. And I still like the big old, same thing I do today pretty much. The big old thing of constructor alley and whatnot. And this is before there was storage controllers and weights and volumes and all that stuff too. In fact, even oxygen, there weren't ventilators that you put in your ship. There were oxygen things. You'd have to just run around and breathe now and then from one of these. And you could put O2 in your ship and everything and breathe out of this, but there's no oxygen in the rooms. In fact, the farm didn't need any oxygen either. In fact, it's just like completely open. And yeah, so, and I also like bigger farms too. I mean, if you're going to have a farm, and back in the early days, I actually did grow crops. That's evident. It's proof. I have proof on the Manicore. If we go to this ship this day, oh no, maybe not. Oh, they're gone now. For the longest time, because this was built in survival and it had crops built to build these not ration packs, but it was like this canned food stuff I was making. I had all the seeds already planted in the ship on the workshop. You'd get it that way, and you go up there, like all the seeds were already planted. That was kind of a bug, and I think they got rid of it. I think they fixed it. That's why the plants aren't in here anymore. But yeah. There's that. But yeah, the good old Nebula. And several times I thought, it'd be kind of fun, do like a little video thing and take this thing and try to like redo it, like just keep what's there, but swap out all the blocks and, well, not all the blocks, but just try to make it look like something else. But then I was like, then I thought to myself, why? I mean, why? I guess that's a reason. Seeds are illegal. I think they deleted them. Oh yeah, it could be. For the longest time, though, the last time I spawned this Manicore ship in, I think maybe a year or two ago, they still had the all the plants in it. So I was kind of surprised to not see them this time. So something changed. Then early on too, there was another build I had that a lot of people liked it. I had mixed feelings about it myself. It was a space station, the Sentinel. Yeah, I still have that too. Holy smokes! And yeah, okay, so when I built this, I was kind of thinking about this at the front angle, and I was inspired by a game called Sins of Solar Empire, and it was a space RTS game, and it had a lot of space station buildings and stuff, and a lot of them were vertically set up. So that was my idea on what I wanted to do with this thing, is have kind of a vertical space station sort of thing. But then again, I have this problem with hangars. I like big hangars, so I was like, well, this vertical building can't fit a big hangar in it. So the only thing I could do is kind of leave the vertical building, but then build this gigantic hangar that attached to it. And that's what I did. And I ended up with this funky looking shape. But I had a big hangar in it. That's for sure. I did like the, this is when I first discovered I really like pass-through hangars as well. If you can do it. You can't do it on a lot of builds for sure, but it's nice. I love the idea of being able to like park and then just get up and fly right out and not have to turn around inside the hangar. But yeah, it's rough to do that with builds. I mean, you got to have a pretty specific type of ship to be able to have a pass-through hangar in it. And this thing had so much. Take a look at this LCD at all the floors. It's like, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't even use numbers here. I had to go to letters because there's way too many of them. That's how this thing was. Every floor is something, because yeah. And then a lot of it, I didn't even know what to do there. And this is back in the day when there's so much less parts than there is, especially in Reforged Eden and Reforged Eden 2 and even the vanilla game now. Yeah, like this room was kind of legit, I suppose. It holds fuel tanks and oxygen tanks. pretty big room for that. But hey, it worked. Filled up some room, and that was kind of the deal. I had just levels that didn't have anything in them. And another big thing too, at this time, like going past size class 10 was an absolute no-no. Like nothing could work with anything past size class 10. So I was freaking out the whole time building this base, worried about size class on top of that. So there's a lot more that could have been done, a lot more could have been detailed, but I didn't, because then I would have blown the size class on it. So I stopped. And yeah. And then this was supposed to be an expansion bay to go to another, I don't know, another part of the station I never built. But I did see over its course of its lifetime, other players have grabbed the station. They actually copied, duplicated it, had like two of these connected together with this this crosswalk over here, and I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, early back in the day kind of builds, a lot of fun. And this video is supposed to be more about the POIs. I guess we covered that a little bit. I'm going to try to cover more POI stuff here in the near future too. I got to, one last thing. I know I've been going on for a long time now, but you'll probably do this all day long. Let me, I got to load in something. No, wait. How do I do this? No, I gotta go here. Single player. scenario. I found this, and I was so surprised this worked. I had these old test scenarios for when I was doing the Creel POIs, so I could test them. And I figured this is so old now, it wouldn't work. But I just thought I'd try it anyway, and yeah, it did. It did work. So literally, what I got to do, since I've done this before, and it was the Scarly that kind of showed me how to do this, and he's got a whole guide actually, which I'm gonna put out on the YouTube version of the stream. I didn't think about that with the well, it's different with the YouTube video. I could put like notes and video information where I can't really with the stream here. But so this area, here, I'm gonna put on a couple other things here too. Let's turn on map, SVP. Want anything else? Yeah, I think that's good enough. The oh yeah. Also want debug menu on so I can adjust the time of day. And yeah, on this planet, basically, this there's Creel POIs. And basically, you edit a file that's involved in this scenario, and then you can add in. It's kind of random on where they're going to spawn yet, but it will. You give it like a list of the POIs and a couple settings, and then it will put these POIs out on the planet. And you notice it's got a bunch of different Creel POIs. Basically, all those ones at the beginning of the video are on this planet. So then I can go, since this is in survival now, I can cheat and give myself some guns and go run them and test them out. And that's the part I want to cover on the next video, how to do that, because it's a really important step of POI building, is being able to quickly build it and then bring it in the game so you can play it. If you can't do that, then you don't know how things are going to work and how it's really going to work in reality. So that is the next part I got to get into. One other thing I did set up too, let me test it. I meant to test it earlier in the video here, is I set up a different scene option. So I think you can now see my desktop. So I figure if I'm going to look at different things, occasionally pictures on the internet, I will be able to also bring up stuff here, even as well. In fact, with me and my screenshots over time, I saved like all the screenshots I think I've ever taken. Now, but I have to keep on breaking them down into subfolders. But like you can see, these are all pictures of the game probably for the last year, including all the look up the workshop videos. So you'll see other people's builds in here and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, some of the screenshots, and some of these I have a lot of fun. There's certain shots that I really like if I can get the settings right. Like this one, I like this shot of the katana, and I had that Creel Kraken back over there, just kind of floating around in the air for the heck of it, just because I thought it looked cool. But you can't even really tell what it is. It's just again that whole idea of trying to get props and things into the screenshots. So yeah. Anyway, I gonna keep on trying to expand my capabilities on what I can do and pull off with the streams here. But yeah, I always thought having a desktop option was gonna be really cool too. There's oftentimes I wanted to show something that I couldn't in a video. So there's that. So let me catch up on the comments here. Creel Alpha 12. Oh yeah. Oh, you had a ton of screenshots and your SSD died. Yeah, I could be in trouble with that too. I gotta watch that. I have another computer. I could probably, and I've got like some USB hard drives or a connector, like some old spinny drives. I could back up a lot of the stuff to there too. You never know what you're gonna see though. I mean, it's like all these shots. These are from look at the workshop. Like this isn't mine here. This is one of the fairly recent creations that we looked at there. So it's fun. And I've got a record. If I got to find my older archives that had the early screenshots, and then I could actually show you how the lighting actually looked different than it does now. And that's a problem I've got with this set of screenshots. So they're all too new to see the old lighting in. So other than that, I think yeah, I've been going. I realized 3 hours and about 15 minutes. Well, I started a little bit late. I freaked out because I didn't have the chat window working when I first started the stream, and I ended the stream, and then I quickly started the stream again after I had a quick chat with Excalibur. So other than that, yeah, I'll call it here. This is fun. Next time I'm going to try to focus more on the POI building and try to go through that scenario setup part of it. Also, this video will be on YouTube. The YouTube version in the title and everything, I'll make sure you've got a couple links to stuff that is Scarly made to help people with POIs on how to set up a scenario and things like that. It's a guide on all the steps to do so you can test your POI. The thing is, most of these are working in vanilla right now, and that's but I think I gotta review some stuff, and maybe it's can easily work in Reforged Eden as well. So other than that, yes, y'all have yourself a wonderful afternoon, and I will talk to you later. Wait, I didn't go quite yet. Let's see. I don't know about the tax write-off on that. All right, adios, everyone.